Kia ora whānau, welcome back to the Up2 podcast. Oh my gosh, I've just been frozen here because I've been doing the intro because it's our first back in a wee while, so I'm a little bit nervous. But kia ora whānau, welcome back. We're glad to be back, and we are pumped as to introduce the guest that we have today. It is our pleasure to welcome Wiley, award-winning artist, Taranaki's R&B queen, wahine toa mama, and Teez from Team Dynamite. He is a dad doing cool shit in the community and an award-winning artist himself as well. So kia ora whānau, how are we?
Go. Kia ora, kia ora, kia ora, kia ora.
I know, I wish we had the rave horns on one of those buttons, but I don't think that's one of them.
I should have got that.
Oh, well, no, thank you so much for coming here. We've been really excited to have you both on. So I know we're all a little bit nervous, and it's fine. I'm sure it'll get less nervous as we go through it. But we just wanted to start off, and either of you can start. So just a little intro on yourselves. And can you tell us a little bit about like where you grew up, what life was like growing up when you were younger? I'm going to hand the mics over to you guys, so whoever wants to start can kick us off. Tony looks deep in thought.
I don't know where I'm from. Nah, I forgot what's my name. Here you go. Whakalofala iatu ki matolosi. What's up? My name's Tony Teez. I'm from Niue, born here in Aotearoa, Tamaki Makuru, born and raised, Central Auckland. Is the location. Let's go. What were the other questions, Morg, say?
Just what was life like for you growing up? Did you grow up in Auckland? What's the
cool, sweet, yep. Well, life was good. I guess we'll get into more of it potentially, but yeah, life was raised by mum, stolen mum from the ages probably of 12 to until now. Shout out to mum too, who's actually looking after our girls right now.
Yeah, shout out mum.
Shout out.
Who can, like, this is like a date night for us, so we're here potting, drinking, and sharing. So, yeah, that's what I thought, right? Look, apparently you can see there's candles here, there's a little anti-pasta platter that I...
Date night.
So yeah, shout out to Up2 for having us. But yeah, no, just born and raised in Tamaki, and yeah, nothing too extravagant or that we need to get into right now, but yeah, I think that's it for now.
Awesome, thank you.
Hold up.
Question, are we talking into the camera or?
Wherever you want to look. Sometimes I'll talk to camera, sometimes I'll talk to
That's a good point.
guests, yeah.
Lovely.
Tony was just staring straight down the barrel.
Look at me.
You can talk to whoever you want.
So my name is Wiley. I was born in Taranaki, Hawara. And I guess I've had the privilege of living in lots of places. I was also raised by a single mama, a solo mama. And yeah, I'm an artist, I'm a mama. I am studying my master's in creative arts therapy.
Cool.
Man.
And yeah, how's that?
Look at you go. What haven't you done? That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about creative arts therapy? Like, what does that entail?
Okay, so yeah, I feel this corridor still feels super fresh to me. Talking about creative arts therapy, I did my postgraduate diploma last year, and now I am in the master's space, which is super daunting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what arts therapy is using creativity as a portal for wellness.
Cool.
Yeah, so I feel I'm super privileged to be in that space, and I'm excited to see where it takes me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the process of creativity rather than the outcome.
Yeah.
Whereas being a musician, an artist, it's always kind of been the outcome. And so I have now had to, I guess, change my frame. And move into a different space, which has been super interesting.
Yeah, and what made you want to do it? Like, did you have just like an aha moment where you were like, this sounds really cool?
I think it was having the girls, having kids. I guess I got to a stage with music where I was at this super amazing place, like, you know, with the award and the shows and the tours. Like, it was incredible. And then I got pregnant, and then I kind of, you know, your identity changes when you have kids, and I'm sure you know about that. Yeah. And I just said to Tony, I was just like, there's something else. You know, I had this knowing that there was just something else for me, and I hadn't quite figured it out, and I was super patient about it, and we spoke about it all the time, didn't we, that I wasn't sure what that thing was. And I guess...
Lots of cordial in the background.
Yeah.
From when Deli was born.
Yeah.
To being like, I want to do something. I don't know what that is. Had lots of other nurse...
I thought about going into midwifery.
Midwifery.
It ultimately, at the end of the day, it was a corridor of being of service.
Yeah.
And that's where I felt like my being and my knowing, the intuition, that's where it sat.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what it was yet. And then when it came to it's crazy because my mum is a creative arts therapist as well.
Oh,
like
cool.
she studied the same thing, but like 10, 15 years ago. And so then like once I kind of stepped into that space, I was like, why didn't I think about this sooner? Like why didn't I think that path would be something that I could be a part of or I could get into? And I guess that.
But in saying that, it took like 4 years.
Yeah, I think that
to
was
actually land.
Yeah, that was something I guess I had to journey with.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of came down to.
Because there was a lot of, I think, a lot of influence from the mahi that I do, coming home and talking about it so passionately, you know, and I was like, I want some of that type of thing. But then your mum is kind of in the same field, not necessarily social work or youth development or anything, but working with people.
Yeah.
So is my mum. So there's so many people, stepdad.
So
So
many
there's
influences.
just, you know, which I was just buzzing out in because my mum is also
Social worker.
a social worker.
Oh, buzzing. I knew that.
And I'm, which I didn't say, was like, I'm in my last year of my degree.
Yeah.
But mum had already done that years ago.
Yeah.
So we're kind of following in each other and our mother's
Dope.
footsteps.
that?
Yeah,
So
it's-
I get goosebumps.
that's what I was gonna say. I was like, yo, and we've been together for a while, so like that moment just on the couch was quite like, oh, yo,
Yeah.
buzzy. So I think, I think it's been such a cool process to watch Bay kind of figure it all out because there's been so many like almost like, what is it? What am I going to do? Blah blah. But the whole thing was just like, yo, you're a mama, just be a mama, and then you utilize this time to figure that out. That's like, let's use that. Don't be in a rush. Don't be, because
present with the girls.
things are, for me anyway, it was like, I'd rather you just be at home and give our girls the things that they need and do that because we're okay and we can do that and you've got time. However, once, you know, the girls come out of that space, it would be lovely for you to have something, and we're just quite, I think our whole thing is quite on luck. Like, well, I don't know, luck, maybe not so much luck, but it's quite fortunate, and I think maybe more the universe had its plan, and we just needed to be okay to lean into that and wait for that moment, and it just kind of, well, it didn't just happen, but it happened, and we're quite fortunate to be in the position that we're in now, where it kind of looks, academically, we're in a bit of a crazy year. I'm in my last year of my degree, and Bay's in her first year of her masters. But it's about the grind now, so we don't have to do that later on in life for our girls, type of thing. So that's kind of that's the centering.
And I think that what it was also is like when the girls are both at school, we just want to be able to hit the ground running. Because truth be told, they don't really cost us that much money right now. They're still tiny people. Right. They don't eat a lot, you know. Tui still wears nappies. That's all good. But, you know, it's like they don't cost us a lot right now. So it's like if we can just grind now, hustle now, when they're at school, we can, well, for me, I can be in the field and of doing creative arts therapy things, and he can be doing social work things, and whatever happens creatively as artists will naturally happen as it should. You know?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's quite a buzzy space to be in when you want to, if we're talking about being artists, because as soon as I found out I was going to be a dad, like the whole mentality shifted. Like, because as we were talking about earlier, you know, living above a what do you call it, a shop. Not single life, sorry, but like just, it was only us that we needed to rely on type of thing. So it was you never really had anybody else depending on you type of thing. And then finding out that the shift just changed, where it was like, holy, because I wanted to be a dad, you know, I wanted to be a young dad, and it was like, but now it was the moment, and it was like, yo, you need to get your shit together, bruv, type of thing. And it was just went straight back into the office, asked for 40 hours at the time, and then things just started happening, and it was just the I call Dell my superhero.
Yeah.
You know, my game changer, my miracle. Like I really needed her at that time of my life, because we were doing quite a lot at that time.
We were doing the most.
Yeah, the most.
We were doing the most.
I mean, we were. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool how that all. Well, and now when we sit in this position, it was kind of cool how it all happened, but not necessarily at the time, because it was a tough time for us as, I guess, individuals trying to figure out. Coming off like big relationships, and not really necessarily knowing all of that, just trying to figure that out, and kind of just being able to, I guess, off each other in those spaces, and then Dal come through, and was the pivotal moment in terms of change, and that was my moment there to figure out, what do you want to do? You now have responsibility. What does that look like? How are you going to turn up? And so being an artist came like on the back seat, where being a dad was more important now, and figuring out, because now you got to like provide, like you know, and even though we were talking about like being parents isn't like that expensive at the moment, but it is. The reality
expensive too, right? You don't have the time.
Exactly.
Rude of me to say when you're paying the bills.
Like, it doesn't cost me a cent.
Yeah,
I'm like, that costs
so
that
I had
much.
to chime in, you know, be like, oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, just but that's why you do the mahi, right? And that's why you're in a relationship, and that's why well, in my opinion anyway, for me, that's what it's about, and it's being able to, because if kind of skipping ahead or moving kind of what we're talking about now is we're going into relationships now. That's kind of what it's about, right? It's being able to, I feel that's both total and be in the trenches, and you're not always going to meet each other in the middle and trying to figure all of that stuff out. So that's kind of where we're at, type of thing, you know, and being accepting of that. But being an artist now, or when finding out, becoming a parent, and being an artist, it just the roles changed quite significantly, and I can like be like, hand on heart, I just knew I could see it, but that was my priority. My whānau was that was my main. That was like music didn't. It's not that it didn't matter. It was just like I had this whole nother pressure on me to try to figure out like, okay. I want to be a good dad, but to me, a good dad looks like being able to provide for your whānau, and being able to. And that was kind of, we were talking about it, just trying to figure out what that looked like, and moving out of that apartment. Above a shop was our first, and shout out to Hero Sandwiches, but that was
Oh, is that what the shop
Could
be a lot, could be a lot worse.
It was me. It was
amazing.
breakfast every morning. Thank you, Hoodie. Thank you, Mark.
You're in the West.
That was kind of that in terms of artistry to me, and being a parent. It kind of was a big change, and I think for the better. Well, for me it was for the better.
Yeah, it was, babe. Heck yeah, it was.
But now here we are. Look, on a podcast with Up2. Like, I was even surprised to be like asked. I was like,
you're just waiting for it. I'm like,
I was like,
she'll go into quite a bit. Like, we're gonna keep.
Look, if you just want Bailey, like I can set it up. All right, I don't have to be there.
Dallas, that would be my ultimate podcast.
Dal actually wanted to be here.
Oh,
she was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "We don't lie to the girls." So, but the girls know you, so it was just like, "Oh, we're gonna go see Morgan." She was like,
what?
Well, I want to come. I was like, oh, it's like an adult thing. She was like, well, when I'm 5, I can come here. I was like, yeah, of course.
That's what Lucas does as well. He like aims it to like the next age that he's going to be or whatever it is. But speaking of your girls, hand on heart, they are the cutest. Like, I'm obsessed. I showed my mum photos of them and was like, look at Tony's girls. They're so cute. Like, they're just the most gorgeous girls. Yeah. And your genetics together have just made like the most beautiful children I've probably ever seen.
They're pretty special.
They're gorgeous. They're like the perfect mix of both of you together, and they just make the cutest kids, eh?
Hard.
So cute.
Yeah.
If Lucas heard me talking about that, he'd be like, what about me?
Yeah.
He would actually,
I'm cute, eh?
But I'm cute too.
Yeah, but he is a cutie. And he's got a good heart.
Yes.
You know, when you brought him into the office a couple of times, like you can tell like there's some good parenting going on.
That's why I think they should hang out together and they could just...
Oh, I feel like it's going to happen. It's going to happen, you know what I mean?
Please do, because they're angels and
they are.
Love having them in the office anytime they can be. Also, I should probably mention Tony's my manager. No
elephant in the room, mate. People are like, wait, this office? You got the same office?
No, I'm an artist.
What?
I'm a rapper.
Up2's got an office? Up2.
Yeah,
Good
the
office.
Up2
Yes,
office.
practic- yeah,
Bring
it's
kids
pretty mean in
into
here.
it. Yeah.
Great studio. No.
So I've worked with Tony. Well, I've only. How long have you been team lead for our team?
2 years. Well,
2 years.
depends on what team you're talking about. So our North team was a year,
Yeah.
and then, or maybe a year and a bit,
Yeah.
and then we merged into the one team. So all up in leadership, I think is probably about two
true.
years.
Yeah.
I think I'm just taking a guess here.
Yeah.
Feels like it's been longer though, eh?
I know. Well, because I've been there for coming up to 5 years in the organisation, and you were there before I was. So yeah, probably known each other for about 5 years, but didn't have a lot to do with each other in terms of. I don't think we ever facilitated together. That I can remember. But yeah, it's just cool how it's come full circle now.
Yeah.
I've always respected both of you as artists as well. We listen to your music, we're fans. Especially Mr.
100.
CA Rap over
100.
here.
All day.
He's just like.
Shit runs through my veins.
I listen
Yeah,
to
let's go.
Disney, Jackson the CA vibe.
You know what's really funny? So, like, if we go for a drive together, it's taken 4 years of us being together to figure this out. But we'd go car rides where it'd be like, I'd jump on the aux and, you know, we definitely like a lot of music that is the same, you know, reggae,
That's
old
probably
school
it.
bangers.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe those two. And I like some Disney, but a Hamilton.
Not Disney, but
But
yeah,
I like
sure, it's on
Hamilton. I
Disney
like
Plus.
I'll have a good sing along to that with you. But it's funny, because I'm always like just jamming like all the CA rap or like even just American rap and stuff. But what we figured out recently was, you know how on Spotify you can do like the jam session? So I'll start a jam session, I'll hook up to the Bluetooth, Morgan jumps in, and then it'll be like Eno X Dirty, Disney. Disney. But it's on.
That's our only happy medium. We have to take turns, otherwise it's just
Yeah, nah.
downhill real quick.
My you know how they do that thing at the end of the year for Spotify and they
Yeah,
give you
yeah.
your
Oh, the rap. Yeah.
bruh.
Do you have Encanto on there?
I had like my algorithm was so
Sometimes
you know how everyone was like sharing this. I was like, damn,
It's not
like
worth sharing.
Don't know.
you know, like
Like Frozen number
Frozen,
Yeah.
Moana, Encanto. Like I was just like, god damn, man.
Oh,
Like
mine's the same, but I have to. I'm like, yeah, Lucas.
so, like everyone's like gassing up on this. I was just like, damn, you girls.
Yeah, notice that
Get
you
on my
didn't share
algorithm,
it.
man. So yeah, sorry. That's why I was just like,
Yeah.
damn. So, but that's my that's how it is these days.
Yeah.
and that's also one of the tools to keep our girls chill
Happy in the
in the
back
car.
seat. Yeah.
And they're also
Yeah.
requesting that like ruthlessly.
Damn.
So it's just like you got no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
pick your
Lucas
hand.
isn't even into it. So
yeah.
I'm the one putting it on. He's like, can we? What does he like? He likes Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, guys.
Vibe.
I got him into Red Hot
Vibe.
Chili Peppers.
Red-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I found a love for them. I was watching a video on YouTube of their drummer.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name.
The one that looks like Will Ferrell.
Yeah. And I just fell in love with I loved watching him drum. I've never been into like that at all. But anyways, I was stuck on it. You know, got into Red Hot Chili Peppers like 25 years late. And then I was just jamming it in the house. And then Luke's was like, I started hearing him go like,
Yeah.
he's humming it. And I'm like, oh, great. The broken head note too.
And I'm like, no, we're listening to just.
Poor Lucas.
Yeah, poor Lucy.
Maybe you
Poor
should join our jam session. He could have the third
Yeah.
option. It's like
Hard.
CA Rap, Disney, and then Red Hot Chili
Transformers.
Peppers.
Oh, I wish the girls were into Red.
Yeah. it was
Well,
a
you never
real-
know. It's still early
That'd
days.
be
Yeah.
vibe.
Because how old is
Right.
Lucas?
Lucas is 6, and this only happened last year?
Yeah.
Oh, this year?
6 months ago.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Right,
I think
actually,
the girls are
Hopeful.
Yeah.
They've got
Sometime.
they're showing. So, I mean, as a like when like the girls were when Dal was a little bit younger, you kind of think like, man, what are you going to be into? What does that look like? What kind of music? Like, you know, and then trying to force that.
Yeah. And then just playing it repeatedly.
You know, like, no, you like this music type of thing, and this is like, bro, chill out. Like,
I feel like the more you push, the more they
1000%.
from it. Though. They're like,
well, if you just look
Yeah.
at, I guess as just human beings, right? That's just
Yeah.
how we move, even as adults. Like that's how we move. Like someone
true.
pushes you, you're like, well, anyway, I can only speak for myself. It's like you push me, I'm probably going to do the
yeah.
the
But they're
opposite.
showing creative signs. Like I've seen some of Dali's artwork, and
Definitely.
it's
She's a
really, really good.
That's
Crazy drawer.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Cool.
Yeah. The attention to detail, like
Yeah.
earrings, fingernails, nose piercings,
Really?
Eyelashes.
Like
Those
yeah, like all these like crazy details that you would never suspect. But I'm
Yeah.
like, Dallas, this is so impressive, you know?
Wow.
Little zips on jackets. Like, and she's like 4. I'm like,
Wow.
It's wild.
Oh, I'm so excited to see.
Yeah, she's killing it.
Like, I mean, she's still little.
She's still little bubba, so we're not quite sure what her thing is yet. But she definitely is drawn to music.
Cool.
Likes dancing. She loves a little.
Yeah,
little sing.
Dell loves to draw, but she's picked it up
creative.
quite just as she's gone. But yeah, Toi hasn't really.
Sure,
Yes, I think
Yeah.
she's. But that's the thing that I was talking about. Is like
Yeah.
you're trying to figure it out early, but the whole thing is you just need to get your kids figure that out. On
Yeah.
their
And
own type
introduce
of thing.
them to different
Yeah.
creative mediums. I think that's
Hard
probably
up.
where we're at. We're just kind of
Right.
letting her explore, and if she does, I don't know. Yeah.
But it's cool having Dell and
Yeah.
too because Two is heavily influenced by her sister.
Yeah,
She just
true.
loves her sister to
Yeah.
the point where Dallas is like, I need personal space.
"Hey, Mummy,
I need personal time. But Tui's like, I don't give a fuck what that is. Like, she's just like holding her or like grabbing like just Dell, like however she needs to grab Dell because she just loves her sister. And that's the other cool part about having those two is like now because Tui's like slowly talking now. She's like picking up words, so there you can see them. Because we're always like, I wonder if like they're gonna play. Like when does that happen? Type
Yeah,
of thing, and
yeah.
it's all kind of starting to happen now. You can have them hearing them having little like
Nice.
conversations, type of thing. It gets cute, and then it gets wild at sometimes. You're just like,
Yeah. Then they start
Yeah.
plotting shit against you guys.
Well,
Yeah,
I've only
that
got a
hasn't happened
sister, so
yet.
I get it. Like, I grew up with me and my sister,
Yeah, well,
2 years
yeah.
apart, and we get it.
yeah.
I feel that.
So, for you guys in your early days, what was that sort of moment where you realized that you were creatives and that, you know, like, was there a certain age point where you, I don't know, was there like a school talent show or something you did, or did you just find kind of like the girls that you were naturally drawn to certain, you know, certain sort of outlets or sort of ways of being? And I don't mind who we start with, but be cool to hear from both around. What
Hope
was
your
sort
answer's school talent show. That'd be pretty quick.
That'd be sick.
So I was brought up in a family where my mum's father is a musical theatre director, and so I
Dope.
was always kind of in a space of creativity.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to music and singing and stuff, so that was always around me. And I think that they said that I was always kind of like humming or singing at something before I could talk. Like it was always just a thing
Oh, wow.
that I was doing. And so when I was maybe like 5, I think I was put into singing lessons.
Oh, wow.
And so I kind of, I was drawn to it at a really small age. And I was in like singing competitions and like did the things, you know, did the musical theatre things. Like that was kind of
Christmas in the
there.
Park.
Did
But you gonna leave that? You gonna leave that?
oh my god! So, okay, so I auditioned for Christmas in the Park like every year and never got a solo, and I was just like,
How rude.
Ratchet.
never. Still to this day, never got a solo, but
Chris is
yeah,
Coca-Cola.
Hey,
Look at you.
still keen.
2020.
Yeah. By the way, what's the bag look like though?
But yeah, so that I guess that was my journey with music. Is that it was always a part of my environment.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was. I guess, and I guess it's like I was always good at it. Went from a young age, so it was my thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was probably solely my thing, which as I got older, almost felt harder to detach from it
Yeah, true.
because that was I was the girl that could sing.
Yeah.
It was such a part of your
Yeah.
identity.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. So there are pros and cons that come along
Yeah.
with that gift.
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, that's so cool.
damn.
What about you?
Yeah, I think as you know, as Polynesians, it's in us to be creative, to be into music, to dance, and all that kind of stuff. So there's that link. But I think it wasn't until I was in my mid-teens, I had one of my older cousins move in with us at the time, and this was like maybe like a 3-bedroom house, 2 families living in that house. Sam Dave, School South, let's go. And my older cousin, who was like kind of all our idol, you know, still is. Shout out Lee's, what up, cuz? And he was into writing raps and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until he kind of, when he lived with us. So before then we would, I don't know if I had like making music was a thing, but I definitely knew like performing was a thing. So would do like the cultural dances and performances, random performances here and there. But it wasn't really till he moved into our house and introduced me to writing music. And he was like, yo, you should write. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what huh? Is that? But he had all these like 1B4, 1B5s like stacked up with raps and all that kind of stuff.
Damn.
And yeah, man, it was pretty. At the time, like I was like, oh, whatever. But he gave me my first 1B4 when I started writing. And that was like my first like introduction to writing. Didn't really have a clue on what I was doing. Just kind of watching what he was doing type of thing, and was heavily influenced on what he was doing. And he was more of a gangster rapper type of thing. So his influences were MC Ren, NWA, like that genre. Where I was just like a young teen, just trying to figure myself out and what this whole thing, music thing that I was being introduced to. But as I got older, the boys started coming into play in terms of like going into parties and having ciphers, and that's what we used to do at parties, is just turn up and cipher, or cipher outside the parties or in parks, because we weren't actually supposed to be at these parties to get not invited. Like, oh, here come these guys. Who the hell are you? Who invited you? Type thing. But you know, it was in terms of like Team Dynamite. That's kind of where that's how it all started. It was just ciphers. Right. I was writing, and then lucky. Well, I think it was like originally like 4 of us, but 2 of the bros had babies, and they went and did the dad thing, and me and Lucky continued to do what we were doing, and where we're at now. So that's kind of the I guess the creative journey and how that come to be. And then we met Haz. So we were like writing to like instrumentals, Dr. Dre 2001 type of thing, and like, which was all good, but we were just like quite like, man, if only we had like a producer or like someone who made beats type of thing.
I wondered that, because like even, you know, nowadays there's so many beats that you can source. So
hard. And so many producers, so many artists. Yeah, hard out.
So it must have been pretty like, you know, for you fellas at the start. I mean, because shit was YouTube. Like, could you just go to YouTube, Uncle YouTube, and be like? Yeah,
well, we had like friends who were jacking, I don't know what it like, LimeWire or something. Yeah. Beats. Shout out Burst, because he was one of our guys. We actually went to school with him in the G-Back crew, and he was like hustling CDs and all that kind of stuff. So I remember buying like instrumental CDs off and being like, and the cool thing was just like, I want this song, and it just be like boom. So you know, there were those opportunities, but there were no producers or anything. That like the link that there is nowadays, or the access to having producers, or you know, is just on a whole nother level. Which is why you're seeing all the music that's being produced these days, and the level of music, and it's so cool to see. But not when we were trying to come up. But we had lots of cool people to be inspired by, like Decepticons, Shay Fu, OMC, the list goes on. There's so many cool people that I think I can't remember, Breaking Records were like one of the first crews. I think they were from out west type of thing, where I was like, yo, and them, and I think it was Nisha Mystic that were like the ones that were like, shucks, we could potentially do something like this. And I think we were both kind of in the mindset like we just needed like a producer or a beat maker, and a mutual friend introduced us to his, and we went out to his house in Otahu, and they just kind of clicked, and the rest is history type of thing. It's like, you know, we've gone on to do some really cool things as brothers and as musicians type of thing, you know, some things that I hold quite dearly, because you don't really get to do those things, like a couple of awards. And I know we don't do these things for the accolades, but it's really cool to be acknowledged by your peers or by the industry to get these types of things, you know what I mean? And I feel like potentially you might feel the same way about when you bagged your award, which is really cool too, because I think, have we just had Delhi?
6 weeks before.
6 weeks.
Wow. Yeah. And then you won your award.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was crazy.
That is wild.
And like, I wasn't even gonna go to the awards ceremony because I was like
6 weeks.
I was like 6 weeks postpartum, you know, like lactating for the first time, like what the fuck, you know, and leaving Bubba for hours when she was just 6 weeks old. It was a real big deal for me.
For both of us.
Yeah, for both of us. Yeah, for both of us. But I guess, in hindsight, really like grateful that I did
Yeah.
pluck up the courage to go, and
Because you don't really know you're going to win these
peak of my
things.
career.
Yeah.
You don't really know you're going to win these things.
But do you get told that you're do you get said like, hey, you're nominated?
You definitely get told you're nominated because you go to like depending like Pacific Music Awards, you go to. I think they do the same thing for the Aotearoa Music Awards.
You get told you're nominated. Yeah.
But you don't get told you're going to win. However, when you went through, Tom Scott was like, "Oh, you've got it. Look how close you're sitting.
Like, you're so close to the to
But
the
you're like,
stage.
don't jinx it. You just want to true.
Yeah, so he
Don't
put
say
it.
that. You're gonna make me nervous.
But he caught it. He knew it. Well, I guess he does know these things. And sure enough, which is why I'm so glad that you went through because, there was. I think even before jumping into the Uber, you were like, I don't think I'm going to do this. Like type of thing. It was like, we need to go, and we went, and you got that award, and it was such a cool moment.
Crazy.
Yeah, but you never know, and then but you have people like Tom Scott who will pull up and be like, "You're gonna get it. You're so close. Look how close you are." Like, type of thing. It's like, we didn't even know. So
And so what was that moment for you, Bailey, where you sort of was like, okay, I think I can do something with this. How many years ago was that prior to you? Because was this award that we're speaking about, was that sort of the award for you where you were like, damn, if I got that, I'm doing something pretty big scale now.
Yeah, definitely. I think to be recognised on a national level, at the Aotearoa Music Awards, that was definitely the coolest thing that could have happened to me after doing, the project that I had done. I think it was a significant moment in my career, definitely. One of the most significant moments.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's on.
I can just imagine, Dylan too, when they grow up, just being so proud of you both. I wish I could say, no offence to my parents who aren't award-winning artists, but, that's a pretty cool flex. They're going to be pretty cool in school to have you two as parents. And
well, I hope so. Going off the attitude at the moment,
they just play with your awards, they just
don't walk me into class. Stop saying hi to me. I want mum to take me.
Honestly, I'm going to tell you that's going to come for you. I get that. Even though I think I'm the cool mum that talks to all the kids, but Lucas is just standing there
can you not?
I've said goodbye. You can go meanwhile. I love your crown. I love this. Just go away. Well, my question was around aspiring rappers. Jack here.
I thought you said you weren't going to do this, Bob.
No, okay. No. I'm not going to do... Jack thought I was going to make him rap to you. And I said, no, I'm not going to make
We can do that off camera.
Yeah.
Because I low-key want to hear those bars.
We're going to have an
After seeing that video, I was like... Yeah.
Although you did say in the last podcast if Tony came on, you rap, but I'm not going to make you do that. But for aspiring rappers or musicians in general, people that say, what advice would you give them to get into the industry? It's a massive industry in New Zealand. Quite a few people are in it, but to actually push forward into the industry, what would your best advice be for that?
I would say searching for your authentic self is your greatest weapon. And I think that I took a long time to find that as an artist. But I would say to somebody wanting to be an artist is start with you.
Yep.
Don't start with the influence. Don't start with anything else. Start with you. And then see what happens. Because you never know.
Yeah.
People might fucking love that.
Yeah,
love
true.
that person.
Yeah.
So don't assume that you know what people want.
Yeah.
I think that's what I think.
That's really cool.
That's so cool.
Because I think people get crippled, when they... I mean, there's the constant corridor around any type of kind of part of life to do with social media or with something that puts yourself out there. There's so much self-doubt. There's so much influence from people, even some of your close homies who can just maybe go to one of your lines and that'll just make you go
facts.
Fuck. Scrap that whole verse when that might be sort of what you need. And kind of linking this back to your what you're studying at the moment, it seems like, even I'm gonna be selfish here and just when I've tried to write a rap and I get a mean writer's block, I can get really emotional and quite fucked off, and it's kind of shit. And it's almost as if the music showed me a part of myself, why did you get that fucked off that quick? because you can't think, you know?
Yeah.
But there just seems to be so many sort of barriers for people. So linking that back to being your authentic self, the idea would be that, like, if it's authentic, it's not, you know, it's like that, it's just going to flow. Right. It's not going to feel tainted. You don't have to keep up this image. And is that why maybe there's, like, artists that fall off their waka once they hit certain level of fame, maybe they didn't know themselves as much as they could have or should have.
I also think it's that thing that we worry about what people think of us so much. Do you know what I mean? That can kind of steer us off our waka and make us feel a little bit shaky. And
but you have those reasons are really valid because you're actually putting your art out there in the open for people to pull apart, to judge, to, you know, so there's valid reasons to be like
such a balance,
between regardless if you're making music, podcasting, whatever creative outlet, you know, we put ourselves out there to be dismantled by the community potentially. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, you could be doing something really, really cool, and there's going to be people that will just pick something up that isn't and you know, and it's like, which you kind of got to share in the comments. But in relation to that question, is like there is that's the deep side of things. But I think, like, for anybody trying to get into this scene, is you got to get busy, man. Like, that's what I'm seeing out there, and you're so exposed to the internet now, and you know that you can do those connections just via, and I think a lot of people are doing that. Like you'll see Spewer and the FOS boys from outside, like they're getting busy. They're putting themselves into situations where they can be recognized, where they're a cohort or and they're doing really cool things. They're getting involved, and you will see people like Church and AP who have come from the navigators space and been able to do that, but they just get busy. And I think also part of finding your authentic self is by getting busy. Do you know what I mean?
You find that person, I guess, in that journey of connecting.
And that's kind of how, like, YGB come to be. Do you know what I mean? It's like we were all just getting busy on our own thing. Tom just had this cool idea to be like put us all into, and that's a collective of not just rappers, that's producers, that's graph artists, that's filmmakers, that's photographers. All creators came into that space, which was a main outlet for us, but we were all like-minded and we were all hungry at that time, which kind of made us, you know, you are finding your authentic self with your people that are also in that same journey as well. So I think there's an important part of being authentic, but people will see your music, and if you aren't authentic to that, especially here in Aotearoa, man, people can see that, you know, if you're like, you're just jacking another trend or something, do you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? But when you kind of see things that are authentic, are a bit more appealing, or people seem to gravitate towards that the most type of thing. So I think there's definitely an element of being true to yourself and your kaupapa of what that looks like, and it can be really hard when you've got all these other influences, other trends. But I think if you can find yourself and find your peoples and get busy with those people, you're just going to come up with your own, what your authentic self looks like as an artist, and hopefully that isn't too far away from who you are as a person, type of thing, which I think is probably like some of my favorite artists are those people who are authentic to themselves, type of thing. And probably the reason why people do drop off is probably some of the reasons that you were talking about the pressures and trying to keep up to that. But then there's also, I think, we're all humans and we all change. Do you know what I mean? We have different kaupapa, or we have different aspirations type
and
of
life
thing.
Happens,
And life happens, you know, hard out, and it's like all of us. So,
and we're all like human beings, you know, like even like the top dogs have writer's block. And they experience those sorts of hardships and unknowings and all of that. Like, I think it's just, you've just got to be human about it and accepting of that,
and be open to that. You're going to get that stuff that if you want to be in this life, that's what sort of comes with it as well.
And then you'll see the people who grind and stick to it and can benefit off that, but that's a different type of grind. You know what I mean? You can't get to the top without sacrifice and all that kind of stuff, which was probably the harder part for me in terms of becoming a dad and trying to balance out the idea of making music and trying to make money to support my family. Do you know? And I was like, I can't really commit to that right now, mentally anyway. And kind of where I was at as a man trying to figure out, with all these other things going on in my life. So my family became priority. Do you know what I mean? And which is, again, if you find your people, they'll understand your situation. And lucky and I'm right lucky that they were my brothers first. And that's kind of been our kōrero right from the beginning, is like we were bros first before music. So anything that happened, it was always like,
Yeah.
still love. Like, we still TD. We still HDTD. Like, it ain't nothing changed even to this day. Like he's like, yo, we should do a TD dinner type of thing.
Yeah.
And we're just so busy in our own lives type of thing that it is going to happen. But that's the love. It's like, it doesn't really, it's not necessarily about the music anymore. It's about that friendship. But that was like the common thing at one point. But if you can surround yourself with good people, it doesn't matter really what happens, whether you continue to, because you'll see, I see my two bros still doing that. And I love them for that, and they can do that, but they also love me and respect because they know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
They know my responsibility has changed quite drastically.
Yeah.
And they know my mahi and what my journey is at the moment, and that's my two girls.
Yeah.
And they respect that. I think they respect that even more.
Yeah.
That I've picked.
Oh, totally.
Well, not necessarily pick them over them type of thing, but they just know, like, no, that's important to you. We get it.
Yeah.
We fuck with that, dap you up, my G, like, you know, but just know we still bros type of thing. And it's like, and they don't even need to say that. We don't need to say that, but it's just a thing. So I think it's really important to, one, be authentic, but find your people.
Yeah.
Chase that dream or whatever that might look like. But I think for now, the artists these days use the internet and use those resources that you have. And that's the thing, they are doing it, and it's cool.
I've got a thing to add. I got a thing to add. Someone said to me not so long ago about what makes a good artist, and he goes, anybody can sing, anybody can rap nowadays. He's like, it's passion. I was like,
It's true.
yeah, because everyone's got so much access to be able to do it.
Yeah.
You know, everyone can access Spotify now. Like, not back in the day, you had to be like signed to like a record label to even get heard. You know?
Well, you thought you had to be signed,
you
type
know?
of thing.
Yeah. And I was like, oosh, that's a nice touch.
Yeah.
That's the passion.
Yeah, that's so true, because I've found that, you know, I sometimes wonder, like, why do old school bangers hang around like they do? And I learned two things, like, kind of this year, last year, and it was that old school bangers, and there's a lot of new school music that comes out that definitely lives up to this, but I find that, like, old school bangers, whether that be old school hip-hop, old school, like, Elvis even, I find that it just feels and sounds more full. It sounds like fuller, and there's more happening. And the feeling that gives you, I find that, because, you know, people always say you remember, you know, your favorite teacher and your worst teacher because of how they made you feel. I think music does the exact same thing, and I find that music is so dope in that sense, because it also can, like, it can break you out of where you're at. You know, I can be, like, me and Lucas can listen to Red Hot Chili Peppers and get into this really cool, like, kind of like wound up mindset, but it's just because the music's charging us, and it's like we're like
So
downloading the energy from, like, the music in a way, but there's just this fullness to it, which just, I think, can really tap into, like, human emotions that
Transports you to another time and space, or a memory, or environment. It's magic.
It's like a type of drug in a way, or like a portal, you know. It, like, breaks you. I listen to ABBA, I'm thinking about my nan straight away, you know.
Hard up.
And it's quite amazing how then
Magic.
you can, whoa, I can smell her perfume all of a sudden, like, shit. Which is, that's dope.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
Music gifts us that.
Hard out, eh?
But not just music though. You know, art, like, and whatever that whatever that looks like. You know, because there's, like, when we were, I don't know if I can admit, when we were.
Oh, it started. Pull that right out.
You know, like the memories of art and vandalizing the streets, you know what I mean? It's like, or walking the tracks and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like those things bring up memories and the good times and all those times. So it's not necessarily music, but music can be connected to that. But it's like, there's lots of.
And I just got to say,
outlets.
like, selfishly, that idea of taking us back, like, both of your two's music, for me and my group, you know, my friendship group, going to Western Springs, Ponsonby Intermediate, us all
They're
just
very
being,
into it.
like CA hard.
Yeah, gang.
Like, your guys' music is takes us back to high school. It's like hearing Team Dynamite takes me back to English class.
Me.
Hearing Wiley takes me back to these cool house parties that we had in Grey Lynn, and like,
Sick.
Yeah.
you know, like all this real cool
Facts.
shit. So I just wanted to quickly, whilst I thought of that, just let you fellas know that, because
that's the same what like Ninja Mystic, Shefu, you know, Decepticons. That's what they were doing for me, type of thing. And those were the people that paid, in my opinion, paved the way for me, and a lot of my peers to be able to do that. So it's kind of cool to hear that it's kind of done that. People feel the same way about, because even hearing that is like, yo, Buzzy, that's cool. I think I underestimate the influence that we've had, type of thing, but not on purpose. It's just,
It's funny because life gets so busy, you know, and like you forget these sorts of things.
Yeah.
You know, like even like I'm now rehearsing for a show that I've got next month, and I've been listening to my tracks again and rehearsing and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is a pretty cool song though, eh? But it's like you get so caught up in the roller coaster of life that you forget these things, or you know, like you backbrain those accomplishments and things like that, and then you hear them again, or you're confronted with an old memory of what it is, and you're like, oh, that is pretty mean, eh?
Yeah, and so many people out there, like, especially just in our circles as well, it's so prominent, like, whenever we mention it,
100.
It's just like we name drop. Yeah, so I actually, you know, work with, you know, like, and do all this sort of stuff, and like, but they came for Good to Great and like did this sort of stuff too. So it's just like, but just the influence that both of you have just had in different age ranges as well. Like Jack's 6 years younger than me, so his, you know, generation, but also mine as well. It's just like the influence that you've both had.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Bit of a reach.
That's so cool. Yeah, we appreciate that.
It's real
cool.
That's cool.
Because you
For
guys,
sure.
and
Shout
I
outs.
can even speak for like Springs kids of my generation, that what you guys offered us was it was like another voice for us, because you were speaking our language, and in terms of like reflecting what you'd overcome, or just sharing what you share in your music, was so true to us and so true to what was current for us in our life and struggles, or even just like talk the way that, you know, especially YGB, especially the way that like most of the rappers within the group would talk about sending it, house parties. It was like, holy shit, do they know us? Like, this is fucking what
That
we're
was the
doing.
culture.
But we're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just, I wanted to let you guys know that.
That kind of comes back to being authentic, right? And if you're being authentic,
Bro,
then
telling
other
your
people are
story.
gonna. This is not like you don't go on to do this, but you're being authentic when you're creating this music, and other people. So it's really cool to hear that. That's kind of how it's come off. But it was never intentional to be like, yo, we want to influence this whole network of people. It was just trying to, because for me, making music or writing, not even making music, but writing, the process of writing was, and reflection is the therapy. It's therapeutic for me. It was, and that's what I use it for now. Do you know, like if I'm writing, it's not to make a banger. It's not to, because that was at once upon a time what we were trying to do. You know what I mean? Or what we're, you know, and that's when we were hungry. But I look back from when I was starting to write music and the content that I was writing, I was always trying to like unload what was going on in my life. You know, when people say, what do you write about? It's like everyday things. Like everyday things in my everyday life. You forget that other people have similar things going on, where they can, like what you were talking about, connect to. And you almost to the point where you're speaking that same story type of thing. And it's like, yo, buzz out. But
Well, speaking of which as well, we had that's just reminded me of quite a few of your fans have asked some questions on there.
Oh, yeah.
But there was just one question that's
Bailey's
really
fans.
relevant to this. They were like, say hi to Bailey. And I wanted to ask the one that I remember seeing. I don't even know how to get into it.
No, I got it. I screenshotted it.
The genre one?
Yo, okay. Yes, so actually there's one more question as well that is awfully relevant to what we're talking about. But so we had someone ask us on the story that we put up yesterday, if you could be an artist in any other genre, what genre would that be and why?
country.
Damn.
I'll tell you what Jack said about what he thought
I
the
think
answer.
you'll like it, bro. I think
Tony
you'll like
has-
what I-
Tony has a soft spot for country.
No.
Well, Creed did come on your Spotify the other. You were out in a meeting and they came
So
on.
before we even turn the cameras on, it's like, what happens at work stays at work. This all of a sudden we're outing me here, like,
Nothing wrong
bruh.
with country.
Okay, no, there isn't
Yeah, country
anything
is a
wrong,
vibe.
but
Country is a vibe.
we were listening to another pod I don't know if we can mention it in this space, but what's his name? Mato Mark from
Oh yeah.
You know.
That really
and so they were doing a recap of, and there was a song that came on, and I was like, "Yo!" And we were in Papamoa, and I was watching that because we're quite behind on all the episodes.
Yeah.
But we're big fans of that particular podcast. And anyway, they did a recap of like all the songs that he picked out, which were like seemed to be country bangers or something like that. And there was one song I can't remember what I was like, "Kiss an Angel, Good Morning" or something like that. So
banger, bro.
and that's kind of started my my playlist. So I
was that the Charlie Pride version?
I'm not too sure, bro, but whatever song it was, I was like, so I started singing it and I was laughing, and then I was in the kitchen with Bay and her mum, and I was like, I think 2024 it's gonna be country. I think I'm gonna create a country playlist.
Can we expect a country album?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what is country and what's not, because I hear all these songs and I'm like, Bay, is this country? I don't know.
Well, Beyonce's just come out with a country track.
Oh, really?
So if
Trending.
she can do it, anyone can.
Yeah, trending. Yeah.
But if you could be a different type of artist,
Yeah.
what would be your genre?
I'd like to sing. Like really good. See, I think I can. I like to sing, but I don't think I can sing good. But yeah, I think like
funny.
type of like R&B maybe. Usher. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
I told you R&B.
Yeah.
Jack said jazz for you.
Or jazz or reggae. Like I'm here for all.
yeah.
I'm here for all of it. You
Yeah,
know.
that.
No, like shade on New Zealand reggae, but like maybe like reggae, type of thing. Yeah, I think, but probably more R&B.
I've heard you sing "No Woman, No Cry" by Bob Marley. So
Again, things that happen at
Hey,
work
that wasn't at work.
should stay at work. Well, it was at work too. I also heard you sing some songs as well. Like, are we getting into the bag right now? Where we're going to talk about?
Yeah, pause, turn the cameras off. And what about you, Bailey? If you could sing any other genre, what do you reckon you'd be into?
I feel like I would pick kind of like being like a girl punk band.
Cool.
Oh, like kind of how Gwen Stefani would be in Sublime.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can see
Like
that.
No Doubts vibes or like
Yes.
Paramore vibes, really early on, All We Know Paramore vibes.
Yes.
That would be my shit.
Oh, that's so cool.
Punk,
What about you?
punk rock.
What genre would you?
You know what? Like if I'd want to definitely be a rapper.
Yeah.
But if let's just not.
What type of rap?
See ya.
Show him.
No, I don't know. Like, I like rap that tells a story.
Yeah.
And I kind of like I like quite fast rap too.
Oh, yeah.
But I like,
Thugs.
pardon me?
Bone Thugs vibes.
Bone Thugs. I don't actually know Bone Thugs.
Mellowdowns?
Yeah.
Mellowdowns fast?
Yeah, like actually no, it's like a mixture. It's a mixture. I'd want to strive for something that's along the lines of, because I was growing up on Eminem, like from 4 years old. I got my first album when I was 5 of Eminem, the Encore album. And it would be a mixture of that, because that kind of feels ingrained in me. But I noticed that recently when I've been trying to write raps, that I'm channeling what I know. And what I know at the moment is, honestly, it's just Central Auckland. People within Central Auckland that because I resonate
That's
with
not a
that
bad thing, bro. That's not a bad thing. Shout out
and I'm not-
CA gang. Let's go.
day.
What up, Diggy?
All day. But, so I don't know, it'd be kind of a concoction of that. But to be honest, like if let's say the genre that you would prefer wasn't available, which is hip hop for me, then it would definitely be country next. Because my mum's a huge country fan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love country. My mum.
Dolly Parton?
Yeah, but of that for sure. I was just trying to think of another song, but I've forgotten the name.
Kiss an
Papa
angel,
Valley,
good
yeah.
morning.
Papa Valley? No. Yeah, but all the country jams, you know what I mean?
Rad.
I like country, and I've been listening to a lot of Elvis recently.
Hey.
And I'm jamming Elvis's song Margarita
Hey.
at the moment. I'm
Yes.
like, oh, damn, that is nice. I like that Mexican influence
Yeah.
within the sound.
It always confuses me though, because we've got that little age gap. He doesn't know any of the music I know, but then knows will know back in the day. I'm like,
Yeah.
what about like Bingo Boys?
I missed R&B.
and, like,
I missed R&B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cousins that were 4 years older than me, they love all this R&B. I'm gonna be real. I don't really fuck with it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be
Don't.
real.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Some
Not offended.
R&B. Although my favorite and first song that I ever remember playing was Usher when I was at daycare, and they put on
You
Your
listen to
time's three.
Usher
I
at
was
daycare?
4 years old when Usher.
You have
I
good
know,
memory, man.
That's my
Wild.
ride every time.
It's crazy. I can remember even the video player was one of those ones where you pop the top and then the CD bit comes up and there was two like fly's eyes speakers and it was just like a round bubble.
Jack's memories insane, like long-term memory.
Yeah.
Insane.
But I remember jamming Usher and that's the closest I'll get to R&B. But I kind of miss that, and I think your era or your age group, just that you fell into it. Kind of like I fell into
100%.
Eminem on the up, you know, when he was on the up.
I mean, same, but not when I was little.
So,
But yeah, Miss
country?
R&B,
So,
so
was it country? We're looking at country? Yeah, we're looking at country.
Country
Yeah,
hip-hop
cool. Right.
remix.
Cool.
Yeah.
So me,
Yeah.
thought we were just going to skip it out. Probably musical theatre. I've got a really powerful voice.
Definitely.
I'd love to go into like soul, but because my voice, like, I've got
you
quite
can
a
do
loud.
soul.
Thank you. My voice is quite powerful in terms of like I can sing loud.
Yes.
I just can't hit those high notes. So yeah.
You've got great projection.
Yes, yeah, projection, which my
Beautiful.
parents are like just, especially in their house because it's really echoey. So they're just like, you don't need to do that here, and I'm like, no, I do. I feel like
It's kind of where Tui's at the moment. Like, Tui's finding her, like,
the
words.
projection.
And now she is just, like
Loud noises.
this morning.
Yes.
noises.
I was like,
Not maybe
well,
not
today anyway in particular, we've had to tell her to, like,
Yeah.
Tui, like, it's too much.
Don't
like,
do
you
that
could-
though, because that's what my parents said to me, and it's still traumatized.
Sorry, I'm doing it because, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just
Hey, but
like,
yes.
oh, bro.
Yeah.
Musical theatre sounds wonderful.
Oh, I reckon I'd nail it.
Love it.
Like,
Love it.
You would.
I
Get into
reckon
character and
musical
everything.
theatre and just the character and the whole like animation of musical theatre, it would just.
And your eyes help because I find sometimes your eyes are like, they're quite a lot.
Well, those pukan eyes. Eh? That's because he's mad, bro.
Hey,
Because you haven't done the dishes now.
oh, fair play.
But yeah, I'd nail it.
Yeah, like, and all Disney characters.
And I'm a dancer, so I used to dance. Like that dance was sort of like my thing back when I was
Let's
younger.
go.
Like just any sort of dance, loved it. Like ballroom and Latin dance got like 98% of my exam, which I'm like.
Epic.
Thank you, everyone.
Lekker.
But dance was like my thing. So whenever it was things like Stage Challenge and like all those like musical theatre stuff back in school, I'd always want to be the dancing one, never the singer because there were always better singers than me. But my voice is powerful. So waiata and stuff mean because I can just like sing it real loud. That's what you kind of need to do. Like when you're leading a
Yes.
waiata is just be like the loudest, which is good. But yeah, I reckon musical theatre would just be like I'd be amazing.
Wait, but is musical theatre a genre?
Totally.
Yeah.
Hamilton,
Wait, but
which you haven't.
We went. I took him.
Yes.
I took him to
you go
Hamilton.
to your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I
It was
know.
so good.
It's
That's
so
amazing.
good.
Was
I
it
love
so good?
Hamilton. Yeah, see, that's the reaction because I asked you about it, and that was your reaction. So I was like,
It was amazing.
I'll go with you next time.
Like, it was
I need a
alright.
better
Like,
day.
the whole thing was cool, but I was just like...
Lin-Manuel Miranda is just like.
Yeah, people keep saying all this. I was just like, nah, it just didn't hit.
That's
Some
a-
people just
you
like
know,
That is a big dog right there.
Which
Lin-Manuel
you-
is a big dog.
But Hamilton's the only musical you'll listen to, right?
Yeah, I'll re-listen to the musical I did at high school. Sometimes.
Oh, yeah, Jack Chris and Reese.
I still hit those notes.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love
He still
to hear
sings
it.
at some point.
Yeah, I
So
got
it's
the lead.
Assassins?
Assassins.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's an appreciation for it. Like, don't get me wrong, there was an appreciation for it. I just don't feel like it was my kind of...
Nah,
Okay, well, if Lin-Manuel's
Fair enough.
watching,
Okay.
he's going to be gutted.
Nah, he is watching, but man, my G, it's so good. Also love.
Yeah.
No? Is it
That's
one of
just
those?
that's the whole theory. It's like you don't have to understand it, but you gotta respect it.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
that's-
well,
that's
when
where
I'm on
at.
stage, hopefully that'll change your
Just
mind.
like when you're leading Waiata, I just don't understand, but I respect it.
Yeah,
Nah,
no,
jokes. You know,
It
see,
goes back to-
everyone's scared when Morgs is in the house. They're like, yeah, sing, yeah, I'm singing.
Or I'll come in real strong and then it just doesn't meet the mark and we'll stop it all. Like Tony's real good at stopping it and going like, no, you need to back her up because otherwise I'm just real loud and then everyone else is super quiet. So it's a skill.
Well, we're trying to level up, and
Yeah.
it's like it's the kupapa. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like if we ever
Totally.
need to talk Waiata in front of everyone, I want our team,
Yeah.
our department to be on,
Yeah.
and
we
it starts within
are.
our team, and so if we have to pull it up, we pull it up, and I think we do a good job.
Totally.
Team's
No.
like, nah, he's a horrible.
We
He's a
think
bully.
we're doing like a mean job, but we don't know what everyone else is saying behind our backs. But hey,
Stay
I
out of the
think we're
comment
really good.
section, team. I don't want to see any of you. All right,
Malia, that means you.
especially you.
I'm going to ban you from putting any comments in.
Blocked. Gang. Shout out the team though.
There was, I'm just thinking back to the questions as well, and there were so many questions. There were heaps of asking the same question. around how you met. Are you happy to tell us how this duo, this dynamic duo started? Take us back.
Yeah.
I think initially we met through the music industry.
Yes.
It was definitely through the industry, right?
It wasn't any other way.
Yeah, it was through the industry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doing shows and I'm like, which parts are you gonna say?
Well, it's because like we definitely met in the music scene, but we also met like in the music scene, but things were going on in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, so we were both come out of relationships at the time, and we're doing things as single people do.
Yeah.
I'm drawn to that time in Ponsonby Central where I saw you going to get a haircut. And you go and you see someone you haven't seen in a while. You go, oh hey, how are you? And then you give them a kiss on the cheek, and then you go, have a mean day, you know. Yeah. Except when I kiss them on the cheek, I accidentally kiss them here.
Accidentally.
That's what I said, you know.
Yeah.
Planting the seed.
But it was like,
yeah.
so you pulled away, and I was like, oh,
what horny kisses? Nah. I was definitely in the music scene, but yeah, like I said, like it was just at a time of our lives where the reason why I'm not too like fond in talking about it is because there were people that got hurt in those spaces as well, and that's kind of why it's like, but and like for me respectfully, like it's like I was quite transparent in relationships that we were in and all that kind of stuff, so it was like, but I think at that time, like far out, like not just necessarily in relationships with people, but I guess sexual relationships is more like also like relationships with family and all that kind of stuff, because I was in such a crazy space, because I'd never experienced heartbreak before, and that's exactly what I was going through as a 30-year-old man. Do you know what I mean? And so this all of a sudden having a family for this amount of time and now having nothing. Do you know what I mean? And now you're on your own. You're now living back at your parents. So all these things are happening. So it was like a crazy time that period. And I think, well, I definitely know hand on heart that they came into my life right at the timing was right. I might not have. I didn't even know that then.
Yeah,
we were both in our like oceans of like living our best lives, you know.
Right.
And I think that's what he's talking to, is we were both in such like a crazy space that we kind of met each other with that energy. Yeah. And somehow it just, I don't know, I think we just got each other. Yeah. I remember seeing him and, you know, us kind of hanging out a lot. And I remember seeing him and knowing that there was so much more essence of a person there that I wasn't seeing.
Right.
And I remember that really well. And I guess
it's crazy.
It is, it's crazy, yeah.
Like, we reflect on it quite a lot.
Yeah.
Because it could have actually not been.
It could have been so
there would have been no Dallas, no Toy. There could have been that. Do you know
true.
what I mean? And it was like quite, because of all of that, we're so grateful for what we have right now.
Totally.
So grateful for actually, well, me anyway, like putting ego, putting trauma, putting, I don't know, like everything that was going on in my life at that time to the side, and being actually, for whatever reason, having a moment of being like, yo, this person actually wants to genuinely be with you. Because at the time when I was going through a heartbreak, someone told me like, lock your heart up.
Right.
Isn't that the wildest advice you've ever heard?
Well, and Max, it's all about bringing those walls down.
But what they didn't tell you was like, well, when you find someone, like let those chains loose a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like let someone in when you're ready, let that. So that was probably the part that they told me and I didn't hear it. Yeah. But all I heard was, you know, and so I literally locked that, and you know, and you know, and there'll be lots of people, even the whole concept of, and I know this isn't just me, there's lots of, I guess, men out there that struggle to kōrero and to speak from a place of vulnerability and being open to having that kōrero, just not out loud but with yourself, because that's the other part that you need to come to reality of the fuck shit that you're doing and
Yeah.
own it type of thing, and how you want to move forward as a person, and what do you want to do, and all these kind of things, which is why I talk about Dali being my savior, my angel, you know, my superhero type of thing, because I was already on the space of trying to, because all those things that I was doing then wasn't necessarily the person that Tony that I was, but it was like, it was just kind of how it would look like, because at the time, because I, again, never experiencing heartbreak or anything like that, which is again why I think like so many of our young people, Tane males in general, take their lives because of heartbreak or because of relationship breakups. It's because it's such a heavy thing, and I was experiencing it at 30, and I was like, this is tough. Like this is like, I literally had a sore heart for like months. Do you know? I remember maybe exaggerating it, but I remember like, this is a pain. This is like something, and I like you know, like an actual. So I was like, if you're a young person in love, like I guess I had some skills, or maybe just mature enough to kind of navigate my way through that, through those waves type of thing. But like when you're young, you probably don't have. You definitely, well, you clearly don't, going off the stats, do you know what I mean? You don't have those, and I know a lot of people, young men, take their lives because of heartbreak or those types of things. So it was like, it was a reality for me to be like, yo, in the, amongst all of that, to be like, this is why our young men take them, because it's such a heavy wave to ride.
Do you think, bro, that, like, that moment where you're saying you're back at your parents, right? Was there ever, and please tell me if I've misheard this, but was there ever, like, were you kind of saying that there was a moment where, like, you could have been saying to yourself, like, as a 30-year-old, should I even be, like, why am I even in this spot? Because as you were saying, Aotearoa, I was trying to think about, like, shit, like, I guess there could be so many other people out there, bro, who find themselves that, you know, in society's eyes, you shouldn't be there right now. That's meant to come later in life, or you should have already done it.
Yeah, 100%.
So was there any of that kind of like?
Yeah, like I didn't even want to move back to my mum's. Like I was like, that was the first thing that happened. I was like, I'm not moving back home.
Yeah. Right.
Again, the universe works the way that it works, and it puts you in positions. And like in hindsight, well, now looking back, like that was where I needed to be. Those being at home, you know, where so they knew how to hold me. And I knew I could just be there and be in the mama that I was in, and hurts and all that kind of stuff. But I also knew that I was in a safe space type of thing. So they weren't even saying anything because they just knew how to create that space for me. You know, they just knew that I was, oh, well, he's home. You know, and it's just business as usual. Just carry on, just get up and do your thing, like all that kind of stuff. Which at the time, like I didn't really know, but after coming through all of that, you know, especially because I spent like just a solid year just by myself. Which was really cool. Yeah, and just kind of like just navigating, because again, it was a tough few months to try to navigate through that space, and at the same time, locking your heart up, even though that cordial was there, but they also train and look after yourself. So that was like some of the things that got me through that rough time. But it was kind of when I came out and was like, okay, like, yeah, sweet, cool. I think I can go and do this life now type of thing, you know? And it just, and it wasn't all like doing fuck shit and parties and all that kind of stuff. There was lots of cool moments, but that was the kind of the space that I got caught up in. I actually remember coming out and like accepting like, okay, you're single now, bro. Like this is it. This is your, this is now your normal life type of thing, you know, like you can now. And I was at this like drinks, I think it was a Red Bull drink. And Louis Nux, and shout out Louis Nux, R.I.P. Louis Nux. I was sitting there and I just like remember talking to him. I don't know why I remember, but I was just like, bruh, like I've got no game. I've got like, hey, but like, and he laughed and like, because he was like, man. But I was like, I just remember like having those certain cordial with certain people, like but yeah, it was, I kind of gone off what your question was, bro, but it's definitely, I didn't want to be at home, but I was at home, and those people were the people that I needed to be with because they could hold that space for me, and I was able to kind of just process everything that was needing to be processed at that time in order to go out and
it's fucking dope that you could go back there, you know, and have that space.
Yeah, true.
Because again, not many people can do that, right?
Yeah.
It's it's a privilege to be able to do that.
And
Not that Mum
how
would be
long's
like,
it- How long has it been? How long have you two been together?
Oh, yeah.
No,
you
you
trying
go,
to do the math?
Kia ora whānau, aroha mai for that. We had a camera burn out on us, so we just had to transfer some files and recharge some batteries, but we're good, we're back.
But anyway, back
Where
to
were
what
we?
I was asking. I was just asking how long you two have been together. When did this magic start?
Maybe should we say, if Dallas is 4, shall we say 6 or 7 years? Something like that, 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. Do you celebrate anniversaries or anything?
Well, that's why I kind of think Bay wants to.
I kind of I want to be in that space of celebrating anniversaries, but we still
Don't know what it
the
was.
lines are blurred.
Well, because
from when
we were
got
in this.
because we were
yeah.
in the flurry.
Because we're
of
doing the
life.
most, riding these waves.
Pick a date.
You know, we're not sure. I feel like we just need to pick a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess we will have an anniversary soon because I proposed to Bay last year.
I also cried when Tony told me because I was so involved that I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can I see the ring?
Yes, oh my god.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I did that.
damn.
See that ring?
Yeah, Jack, see that ring?
All
I
of
actually
my
got it in
friends are
Taranaki too, bro.
engaged or married. All of my friends, and we take photos of all of our hands, and they've all got rings. I'm like, oh, it's a little empty.
One day.
Yeah.
One day.
But
one
even
day.
our anniversary, I still can't remember.
Nah, you got it wrong this the latest anniversary.
I'm not good with dates, but it was
Oh,
an odd
no.
number,
You
and I
got
wanted it to be an even number, so we changed it to the next day.
So
it could be an even
yeah,
number.
so it's actually the 28th.
Yes.
Of December.
Yeah.
And I know I got that wrong. So this year, I think you said you were like, oh, what? How long have we been together? And I was like, oh, this is our 5th year. And then you were like, no, it's our 4th. And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay. No, 'cause I got it wrong.
Oh, fuck.
And then you were like, yeah, and it's on the 24th. And I was like, no, 28th.
I knew that.
But no, we get it. We get
At least
it.
I got the years right.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a plus for me.
Hard,
4 years.
definitely.
Beautiful. Just
Couple
watching you
times
two
a
trying to
person.
figure it out. I'm like, this must be what we look
This is
like
what
when
we
we
like
have the
to- alright,
conversation.
cool,
Where
we're
she's
all
like,
same boat.
she's like, we you know, like, fuck on, no man. Does it if it really matters that
got
much?
kids.
Like, you're like, what? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if Dallas is
At least over 4 years.
Can we hear the engagement story?
Oh man, yeah, you can. So last year, Matariki. So we're trying to, because as we already know, Bay is from Taranaki, whānau, and Hawara, but her grandfather built a batch in Uranui. So the first time we went to Uranui, and I'll show you these photos later, but I got photos of, so it's always been on the back of my mind, of when to do this and all that kind of stuff. And when we were, one of the times we were in Hawara Bay, there's this antique store. Do you want to tell the story about the antique store?
Yeah, there's this beautiful antique store that I used to go to with my nana and my grandmother at different times.
Yeah.
And I said to Tony, I was like, if there was anywhere that I feel like I've lived in so many different places in my life, I said if there's anywhere that I kind of like whakapapa back to and have a connection to in that way, I said, if you were to buy me a ring one day, hypothetically, it would be from that place because my connection is strong
Yeah.
to that antique store with both of my my grandmother and nana, and
Shout out to Bethel's. Is it Bethel's?
Ethel's.
Ethel's. Bruh.
Oh, brother.
Shout out to both Beatles and Nichols.
Ethel's Antiques, yeah. So we kind of went in there, had a little nosy one day, and
No, you went in there.
Yeah,
having
yeah, just had a little nosy, you know.
those- yeah, we debriefing now, team.
Yes. So I had a little nosy, and there was a ring that I saw, and I was just like, wow, so beautiful. And I did kind of mention it to
Yeah.
Tony because it was the conversation was in the atmosphere that this would kind of take place, and we never get to go home to.
Hey, you're assuming
Hawara.
here.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm just going to take this opportunity, have a little nosy, and go from there. Anyway, saw a ring, beautiful, was just like, wow, that's the one. This is crazy. That's the one. And went in the next day, and the lady was like, it's so weird because that ring's been there for so long, but these people came through and they bought it. And I was like, oh, bugger. And anyway, so what happened? So then...
So we went back to Auckland. Not long after that,
Yeah.
people from Ethel's message back and were like, yo, this ring's just come through.
Except it's not 9 carat, it's 18 carat.
Oh,
Bruh.
And it's just like the one you wanted, but even more beautiful. And I was like, that's what that's meant to be. And so we said,
You said,
yeah,
I'm giving you the information. Here's the Facebook Messenger.
do with what
It's
you
now
will.
it's now in your court. I had secretly been looking at rings prior to this moment, type of thing. But yeah, this just kind of came through, and it just made sense.
Yeah.
The whole thing around it, and like the connection and all that. So like, I was like, made my job easier.
Yeah.
And the ones that I was looking at were like the total opposite to this one. I was like, God damn, you probably would have said something else. We're like, oh, bruh. And so then anyway, we're down in Taranaki, Uranui this time round, and I had already been in the conversation with this with Ethel's antique store, and trying to like set up payments and all this kind of stuff, and trying to do it on the low. So I was messaging her sister being like, what size ring is your sister? Because they were like, do you want us to get the size? And I was like, yeah, it's a great idea. And then I didn't know what.
You like rings have sizes?
Yeah, hard out. And so I had her sister up, and then so it was like a bit of a, a wraparound support to get it done.
Nice.
Always kind of like joking about the whole marriage type of thing.
Yeah.
To Bay. I always used to like pretend to get on my knee.
Oh,
And we're like,
honestly, I would like, if I like cleaned, like, vacuumed the inside of the car or
Yeah.
something, or like did the bathroom, he'd be like, oh, and like, I'd be like, you motherfucker, like, that's not even funny, you know? Like, but he did it like all the time, you know? I was just like, oh.
Yeah, and then so when we went down one time to Uranui, there was this awesome. We got family photos down there, and it was like perfect on the beach, no one there, sunset. It just looked beautiful. So I was like, I want to propose to her there, not only because it's Uranui, but just because of the sunset, and it just looked
it's
beautiful.
such
The
a
landscape, so beautiful.
And at the time when we went down to Matariki, we were actually going through quite a lot as a whānau, like school wise, health wise, all these things were just happening. So we just needed to get out of Auckland. To the point now that because of that moment, we Matariki now for us is going down to Uranui and spending time together as a whānau. Because we were always wanting to do stuff for Matariki. So I think the first year that kind of officially happened type of thing, I think we were like making, I think we made fry bread and like, like the kai type of thing. But now we kind of evolved, and now we will go down to new tradition like a whānau. So like, and which now is significant because I proposed to Bay down in Uranui. But anyway, so when we were down there, we were kind of there to kind of reset. We just needed some whānau time, so we went down there and did all of that. But we were, because Bay's dad lives in Hawara, and we were staying in Uranui, so we're kind of back and forth. But Bay, and I was like, so when we were down in Hawara, I went to go pick up the ring, trying to like just make it like
low key.
Yeah, low key.
Gotta go get
Just like over there. I was like gassed it to the thing. I was like, yo, I'm gonna, because I had already messaged him. I was like, yo, we're gonna be in Taranaki around this time. Do you reckon the ring will be sized up? And they're like, yeah, it should be sweet. Messaged him on the day that we arrived, and I was like, yo, can I come pick it up? They're like, yeah, for sure, pull up. And they were beautiful people, man. They were just like, oh, how you gonna do it? Blah blah blah. Ran them through my little game plan. They're like, she's gonna love it. All this kind of stuff. I was like, I fucking hope so. And so I got the ring. Bay was at her auntie's, I think, at the time, and I went, picked it up, called my mum on video call, and I was like, "Ma, look, here it is," type of thing. She was like, "Oh my gosh, son, it's beautiful." And so, like, we were now, because Bay was having a bit of an emotional time. She was like, "I think we should just stay in Hawara," but I had planned to propose in Uranui, so I was like, "Well, which one is it?" Because now I need to figure out what the game plan is. And so we were driving back to Uranui to pack up our stuff to come back to Hawara. And I was like, "Oh well, fuck, it's clearly not going to do it in Uranui." And then within that night, she made a decision that we were just going to stay in Uranui, and I was like, okay, cool, sweet. So it's game on.
Oh damn!
I think we got crayfish that night, or like that weekend that we were down there, and bruh, I got like gout, and it was like
Hearty gout.
Oh no, not the hearty gout.
the heartiest gout. Shout out all my gouters out there. Sucks, man, but all your way, man. So I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so it's on. I'm gonna propose, and so randomly I was like, oh, let's go down to the beach. So we get down to the beach, but I've got gout, so I'm like hopping along, trying to like figure out, nervous as fuck, like just like, and so I'm so nervous. I've got the tripod trying to set up my camera so I could film it type
Yeah.
of thing. But I was just so like tense.
He gets like real, like when he's nervous, he gets like really tense.
Yeah.
And like, so like he's like setting up the tripod, and I'm like, babe, the kids don't want a photo.
Yeah,
Like we're just chilling. Like we're just like making
Just walking down to the beach.
sandcastles, going for a little walk,
Yeah.
you know, and then like the girls like they run off that way, and I'm like, sweet, well we're gonna run this way. And
Yeah.
he's like, where are you going? And I'm like,
Trying to set up the
I'm just like, we're just chilling, babe.
So I've
So
just
good.
set it up. The girl Tui runs off, and then my whole family just walks off, and I'm like, so get up, camera
and
setting
he's like
up. I'm like
hobbling.
nervous as fuck. I'm just like, oh man,
my
yeah. Oh my gosh, right. So anyway, I hobble along to my family. And go again, set it up again, but I was just like, bro, you just need to shoot your shot now. Like, you just set it up, get it, and like, just do it, type of thing. So I'm setting it up, and I was like, get ready, and Bae's just kind of standing there, and so the camera's ready to go. Also, the weather's like shit. Like it's like
He
it's
doesn't
like
have he doesn't have the
I don't have
sunset.
how I the sunset wasn't there. Like it wasn't how I was like gutted. It was like overcast as about to rain type of thing. Almost, I feel like it was about to rain. I'm like, oh,
Perfect time for a
you
visual.
know, this like but it just kind of adds to it. And then so yeah, set up the camera ready to go, and the girls are like playing, running around type of thing, and I just set the camera up, and I'm on my knee, and I am talking to Bae, and because I play around,
Yeah.
she's like,
Yeah, she's...
I just like,
what are you up to?
What happens when you
I got
play
Exactly.
the giggles. I got the giggles. I was like, what? And then
So I
was
said
like,
what I said, and I was like, so, what are you? Yes. She was like, yeah, absolutely, and that was kind of it. It
Did
was,
the girls
yeah.
know,
The
like,
girls-
understand what was going on?
There was
or-
definitely everything kind of paused, like in time,
Yeah.
and both of the girls just stood and watched, and and we caught it on camera as well. Like they knew something significant was happening.
Oh, cool.
And it was cool, and I think,
Yeah,
and
but-
it was moving for them, and because they obviously saw us reacting to an emotional
Yeah.
thing that was happening between us, and then once I'd obviously said yes, Dallas's first thing was, "What's happening?" That's what she said. Like she wanted to be in on what had happened,
Right.
and it was cool, and we all just had like a
And then like
cute
figuring out
family.
what it was, and then like moments after, Dallas would always like find a ring and be like,
Oh, that's so
you know,
sweet.
yeah, I know that was Dallas. She'd just grab a ring and be like, and let's put it on my finger. But yeah, that's the story of how it all went down.
Oh, wow.
It was beautiful because it was like the intention that he had behind it, how he
Yeah.
wanted it to be,
Yeah.
was so like beautiful and crystal clear. But the reality of it,
All the barriers.
yeah,
that were
it wasn't
stopping-
so much like that. But like we get the giggles about it now, and it adds more to our
Yeah.
story because of the way
It's perfect.
that it was.
It's
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah.
for you.
it was so
That's-
beautiful.
And it
So
kind of
cool.
like
So-
fits us to a T.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
how- yeah,
like
yeah.
that's just how it is. So.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, no, it was but that's the exclusive.
Yeah.
No, I don't
You
think.
heard it first.
Yeah, you did. Well, a lot of my family will be hearing it first anyway. Like, oh, I'm nearest and
You know,
dearest.
haters
Yeah,
like commenting like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
my family coming for you is like, bro. But so yeah, it's just I've got a big family, so it's like yeah. I'm trying to explain to you why you're only finding out now here on the Up2 podcast. But our family do know. It was really important for our grandparents to know. I've only got my nana, and Bae's only got a grandfather, so they know it was really important, and obviously our mothers and our siblings and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But
How was the
yeah.
reaction from whānau? Was it just...
It was lovely.
Well, they already knew because I already asked maybe like a year
Oh,
ago.
okay, yes, yeah,
Prior.
Both Bae's dad, when we were in Taranaki like ages ago, he's ledge. Like, it was just like just give me a handshake. All right. I can't kind of think I don't actually got the whole kordero out. Like I had the speech because I was freaking out again. I was like, I want to marry you. I was just like, shut the fuck up. All good, bro. Bring it in. You'll be great. Blah blah blah. Yeah, and then the same thing with her mum and stepdad.
Yeah.
And we're just so happy. Yeah,
Damn.
I asked my mum just a little bit earlier, and got her blessing, which was super important. Mum's been she's been the rock, as we mentioned before. She's a solid mum, raising 3 boys, 1 girl, raising 3 men at that, which is so she's a real significant part, which is I think is real. Another thing was like the way that Bae and my mum had formed their relationship. And it's just like, this is all you want.
Yeah.
You know, you just want your favorite peoples to get along.
Yeah.
And because of all of that, and like, it wasn't like an instant thing,
Yeah.
you know, which nothing really is. But it was such a defining moment for me anyway, that I knew I was like, yeah, it's the one. And I think I've never been into marriage, the whole, but I love the concept of celebrating love and forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm exactly
Do you know?
like that too, bro. Like,
The whole pouring money into all these and feeding people to come, like that's kind of where we're at the moment of like, now the wedding day comes, but I'm like, the fact that the hard work's been done, like she said, yes, like we're locked in, gang it is what it is. I mean, 2 daughters would say that enough, but now the ring is like, you know, signed, sealed, delivered, man. So we here, but we just it's just I just can't. I think when it's forever now type of so we like
that's
you know I think the whole opportunity to celebrate, because it's hard work, as you usually know, like relationships are so fucking hard, but I think when you find your person, it's worth getting in the trenches. Do you know what I mean? And you are on like some other shit if you think it's always going to be roses. Do you know? And if you are, I'd be questioning actually I don't know shit about, but I know what our relationship looks like, and it's like, you know. When we first started seeing each other, it was the waves were a little bit high, a bit more intense, but I think right now, with the growth and all that, and the continue with the understanding of look after yourselves as individuals, you'll be able to look after each other in a relationship. But it's really important to figure out what makes us tick and happy. So we can be happy together. I think. And we quite pride ourselves on giving each other space to figure out what that looks like. And being able to do that and do that really well. But I think, again, if we didn't have all those moments before, prior to being us, we wouldn't have been able to kind of figure out, because we're quite grateful that we went through what we went through in the beginning of our relationship, and being able to ride those waves, because those are probably some of the biggest waves that we've ever had to encounter as individuals and as, I guess, partners. Would you agree? And what kind of makes everything now not so hard. And hard is something that we're quite okay to be in. Like, we'll just get in the trenches and ride that wave together. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you just dap each other up and you figure that way through, but you're not always going to agree, and we're quite okay with that. It's just, for me anyway, learning to use my words, because I never used to like using my words. You just bottle that shit up, you know, classic. But, you know, I think that's all the other things that I've learned since that moment of becoming single, and the reality is like figuring out, okay, well, what kind of man, what kind of human, what kind of person do you want to be, and trying to work towards whatever that looked like. But it was never easy. You had to go through all the storm and all of that shit to kind of get to where I think we're still working on ourselves. But I think the moment you come stagnant, and I know, and I talk about this in my head all the time, it's like we can't just be good. We need to be better than what we are, you know. We need to always up the game type of thing, is because I think that's how I see our relationship, and how I see myself, is like, you just can't be complacent with what is the next level. How do you get to be the better version of yourself, and trying to be that person. But I got 2 people that rely on me, you know, that want me to be, that are expecting me to be on. And I see that challenge, and I think we both see that challenge, and we want the best for our girls, and run a role model probably not even to just our girls, but the communities that we work in. Like, y'all can have it, you just got to work for it. You got to be quite open with your kōrero, and try and find kindness and gratitude within those spaces as well. But also, if you're going to manifest that, it takes hard work. You can't just say things, you've got to go work for it. Which I think is kind of testament to where we're at the moment. We're just trying to grind it out. We kind of know what we want to do, and we're just going to just mahi hard. And then what will be is what will be, I think. You know what I mean?
How cute are they?
That's on.
I love it, because sorry to cut you off. But just, I'm a hopeless romantic. I've literally got it tattooed on me that I'm a hopeless romantic, and I'm a Libra. Just to throw that out there. Every podcast I have to drop that I'm a Libra.
Of course.
Very Libra of me. But I just, you can tell how you two just like gel so well together in terms of your frequency. I feel like you guys are just on the same page with stuff, which takes effort and takes time and takes all those ups and downs that you were speaking about, Tony. Like, you just seem to really complement each other. I mean, you're both creatives as well, which is going to help too, you know, just having that same sort of mindset, but showing up as your best selves for your girls is just really commendable, and I've got a lot of respect for both of you because I love it. And I've got a question for you. I'm going to put you on the spot. What's something that you love the most about each other? Because I want to like really delve into this whole love thing that's happening here. But if you had to say, like, what would you say is the thing you love about each other the most?
For me, it's like the ability to address things, like right there and there.
Yep.
Like, you know, pull, or have those hard conversations.
Yep.
Because that's something that I fear. Having those hard conversations. Well, I used to, not as much as I do now, but I think I've had a good role model in that space where, because there's been tough conversations that Bates had to have, and I'm like, I can't fucking believe you're dealing with it that way. Because I'd probably just go on mute, or, you know, like, just like, oh, we'll leave that one. But I think it's that.
Yeah.
And turning up and being consistent in that. I think those are the things that come to mind anyway. But definitely those addressing things or having those hard conversations, because I've seen that many a times. And for me, I'm like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
that's way too hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the things. And the way that Bay loves on our girls.
Yeah.
Good mama.
Yeah.
One of the best. The best. Because you'll see, or people that know our girls and seen our daughters, you'll see how beautiful they are.
Totally.
You'll see how like kind and gorgeous, and just their spirit like is just amazing, and so soft and gentle but bubbly, courageous, very cautious at the same time. But just all of that is testament to Baked, you know, like the mahi that's been put in. But we wanted that for our girls. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a rush for Bay to figure out what her career was going to be. It wasn't a rush to get into mahi. It was like, just love our girls. That's all I wanted. And because of that, and the way that she's loved our girls, it's kind of what we've got now. Do you know? Where people talk about our girls like that, and why our girls are the way that they are. I mean, they are, don't get me wrong, they ain't fucking angels all the time, and it's hard sometimes, but when they need to be, they are. Do you know, and which is the most coolest part, you know, like out in the community, with their grandparents, you know, with their grandparents, and like all of those, with the family, like they're awesome. It's like when they come home and then they just all of a sudden have no ears. I'm like, oh yo, where? Like,
well, that's what I've been brought up on as well. And Mum made a point when I got pregnant with Lucas. She was like, all I ask is that he's really, really good out in the public. Not so that the public think that he's, you know, really good, but just being respectful of those people. Be a little shit when you're at home. If you put it on for everyone else and you can be respectful of other people's spaces, that's all I ask. You can throw a tantrum here, like, you're in a safe space, I can totally handle that. But if you're out with other people, that's like, and that's what I noticed with your girls, is just, I know no kids are going to be like that all the time, you know, like that's just an unrealistic thing to think about. But just a matter of showing respect to the people when they're in these spaces is just like, I love it. I'm just like, that's real cool. And it does show testament to both of you how amazing you've worked with them too. What about you, Bailey?
I've had a little bit of time to think, which is nice.
Nice.
But it would be Tony's loyalty. I think that sits at the front for me. His loyalty with us, like his nuclear whānau, but also his loyalty with his wider whānau and his community, his job.
Totally.
Like all of these things, he's got, a huge amount of loyalty and passion for what he does and who he is. Yes, I think it would be that. And also, I feel like he's just one of those people that he walks into a room and you can feel his energy. And you see his energy, and that's what... that's why people are drawn to him as a person. And I love that I can stand next to him and feel that pride that he gives me from what he gives other people. That's what it is.
That's so cool.
Yummy, eh?
I love it.
That's so hard to hear. Compliments, yes, thank you. I'm working on it. But
So, with all that being said, we had this corridor that we're having right now. I've just connected it with a question, and it coincides beautifully. So we had a question from 683 Set.
683 underscore set underscore.
Yes.
Gang, what up, Kaz?
I just assumed that he wanted it to be Set or she.
T.
But the question is...
Oh, do you know him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Me.
Go.
So, is there an equal responsibility in your relationship to carry each other during stormy seasons? So we've been talking about the light, fluffy, beautiful love. But when it comes to, you know, shit hits the fan, you know, how does that work for you two?
I feel like there is, there's like a trust, an unspoken trust in knowing that when shit hits the fan, that person is going to hold you, or that person is going to hold you accountable.
I love that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I think that there's an unspoken something in there that you know that you've got them, whether that be telling them what's up or holding space for them. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's...
So you've just...
Holy shit. I'm going to steal that for my
Yeah.
youth work money.
I know, that was just
So
like...
wise.
Yeah,
that
that's my
crazy.
answer. That's my answer. What was the question though? Because I was like, damn, that's a good answer. What was the question though? Did she answer the question? Did she answer 683 Set's question?
So the question was, is there an equal responsibility in your relationship to carry each other during stormy seasons?
Yeah, 1000%. Like, that's what relationships are. They're 50-50. I mean, 50-50, but you know, there's that quarter that we were talking about is like sometimes one person is 40.
Yeah,
and
you
you
shove
have
it
to,
over the other.
you know, and
I
it's
love
been
that.
messaging each other,
Yeah.
be like, yo.
Wait, hold on. Catch me up with that. I didn't pick that up.
I've actually told Jack about this. He clearly didn't listen. This is awkward.
Right, it might remind me. I just want to...
Sometimes you can give, like, I could come back from work and I'm on a 20. Like, I've had a real hard day. Yeah, like in percentage-wise out of 100.
Got you.
I'm showing up with 20.
Yeah.
So I need to see what you're going to come up. Are you going to come up with the extra 80? Like, where are you sitting so that
Okay.
we can figure out how to each be at 100, knowing that each of us are going to be at different percentages every day that we show up.
And I'm guessing if someone's in a storm, that would say that someone's below that frequency, that, you know, because the expectation would be to sit at 50-50, but that's kind of like an ideal would, but we don't live in an ideal would. In relationships more specifically, it ain't like that. Especially when you add 2 kids in there, but then you add mahi in there, studies, like there's so many components that can alter what those percentages look like. But in the thick of it, you kind of want to make sure that if you aren't, that you're having that conversation and being quite open and being like, yo, I'm only at 20. And all good if you're at 22, because now we know where we're at. So let's offer each other, let's hold that space and figure and grind it through
collectively come up
do you know,
suppose,
and whatever that might look like. But I think definitely, I think you're that's the thing. That's what I love about relationships. It's reciprocity. Do you know what I mean? And the idea of giving respectfully, but also making sure that it's not just one person doing all the hard yards. You know, doing all the heavy lifting type of thing. It's like, because then that's not a relationship, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? You I don't know what you call that, but it's definitely not a relationship.
One person steering the ship.
You know, and I think
you know,
and that doesn't sound like it's gonna be, that waka's gonna be going on for a long time. So, in the storm, I think is the most, probably the time where you're gonna, in my opinion, see where your actual relationship is at, type of thing, and what the other person is willing to do when you're deep in those trenches, when you are just having the shittest time, or just having a tough time. Is how, because that's kind of what it looks like, is how are you going to support me?
How are you going to meet?
Because I have nothing. I'm drowning here. How are you going to offer me in this space? And that partner being able to offer that space and being like, I got you. You know, or let's drown together, like type of thing. You know,
It's fucking like just as equally as important, right? Because I think, you know, one thing that just reflecting on this corridor, like as you guys have been talking, I've been thinking about our relationship and been like, shit, like, you know, we talk about this age gap. One thing that I like about this age gap, that, you know, it's forced me to grow up quicker in a way, but it's also forced me just to kind of like learn in a way that, like, if your relationship's fucking all fairies and daisies constantly, arguably it's not authentic. And I think one thing that we've done really good at is remaining authentic so much so to the point that we may have done personal development stints at the start of our relationship.
It breaks, we call them personal development.
We just had to go do a bit of PD.
Hey man, I feel like we're in the same boat.
You know, but I think, you know, the reason why I want to just kind of go over this is that I think it's really important to know, because I feel like young people these days, just in their, like in the world that they've grown up in, they see things being written off as like really quickly as like, well, that's what you got to do, because there are things that you have to cut loose really quickly in your young years. But I think that kind of, it almost starts this framework in your head that if you're not fairies and daisies at the start for ages, then you haven't found the one. But I think I'd argue against that and argue that, like you guys have been saying, it's work and fucking that's where like real relationships are, and that reciprocity and that sacrifice and everything like that.
Sacrifice is massive too, bro.
Yes.
Not people, like in my opinion, you don't actually underrated,
Yes.
unspoken, like
I
quite a
know
lot,
that,
you
but
know.
you've definitely taught me the importance of sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
because we come in, I guess, especially as artists kind of get, in my opinion, the most fucking egotistical people in this fucking world. You know what I mean? Because
They're quite self-indulgent. In order to be an artist, you need to be inward. You need to be
Looking after yourself.
reflecting and processing, and then downloading
And, like,
and
not talk off of
writing and
yourself.
you
In
know.
a
But
way.
you have to be quite self-involved in a sense in order to get the material out. You know,
Right.
and
yeah, can't actually remember where I was going with any of that, but yeah.
I can't remember either. Of course,
I was meant to go
I was like,
somewhere
"Where's
else,
it
and
going?"
I forgot where I was going to.
Yeah. But we were talking about, what was the word that you were just
Sacrifice.
sacrifice?
Yeah,
Yeah, you need to
sacrifice.
be able to
Yeah.
sacrifice because you can't have it all your way.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to just reciprocity, give and take. Like it's not all about, well, in a relationship, it ain't about you anymore.
Yeah.
It's about us. How do we? I know you want to go and do this,
Yeah.
but we here. So how are we gonna
Yeah.
meet
Yeah.
that?
Totally.
So did you say that you guys also experienced some turbulence at the front of your
Oh,
relationship?
3 times.
Yeah.
Like
Valentine's
3
Day.
big ones.
Yeah, you see, I'm kind
my
of
best work.
here for that turbulence at the front end, because what's it saying? It's like, are you going to show up?
Yeah.
And obviously at the front, same with us. We had to show up if we wanted to
Yeah.
keep
If you wanna
going
make
or
it
survive the issue, you know, like
Yeah.
you had to do it. And so it's kind of like, if you and we showed up for each other at the front end, it kind of takes away the worry and the fear that can happen later.
Yes,
Say you're with
so
someone
true.
for months and months, and then a thing happens finally.
Yeah.
And then you don't know if they're going to,
You haven't done the groundwork to
Yeah.
be able to cope with it when
you
it
know,
comes.
so I'm kind of like,
Shit,
I'm
hard.
like, I've often thought like I wouldn't really have it any other way with Tony,
Yeah.
because I know that if we got through what we did at the front end, we're going to be all good.
That's totally it. And that's...
And I feel that's the same here.
100%.
Yeah.
And because a lot of the reason for that front end part being turbulent was a lot of... Well, mostly sort of fear from you, like fear.
Yeah, I had a lot of
and
that.
because I come with a child as well, like
Yeah.
that's a lot
It's a
for
big commitment.
Which is
someone
valid,
that's young,
right?
You know,
Yeah.
like it's a lot of
And I
pressure.
think I thought I knew
Yeah.
what I was getting into with that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know, I thought about it and I was like, shit. So me and my 3 siblings, my little sister Anya, she's 9 years younger than me, and then my little sister Charlie Rose is like 12 or 11 years younger than me, and then my brother Teddy, he's 15 years younger. So from 9 years old onwards, I was always around little kids, right? So I kind of had this assumption, like, no, fuck, I know, you know,
Easy.
I know what it's like. And I also come from a broken whānau. Like, I have no memory of my parents together, but I have memories of my step parents and what I liked and what I didn't like. And I felt like, okay, cool. I'm in a cool position here because I've got about 15, 20 years worth of like remembered reference of what it is to be a good and bad step parent. But you know, I kind of felt like I fucking knew like what it was, what I was
Well,
getting
you
into.
thought
Which,
being a sibling was the same as being a parent because
Yeah.
he'd been around children before.
so I've been around little
Fair.
young people, and Luke's was 2.5 when I met him.
Yeah.
And now he's 6, which is like a fucking trip. But like I've said this to Morgan, and I've told many friends, but I can't wait for the moment where Luke's is like old enough, and I plan to do this at his like 18th maybe or 21st, and I can't wait to fucking thank him. And I want to really make a point of it and just be like, bro, like fucking, you taught me so much at 20-year-old young man up until I mean, even now, and I'm sure it'll come for more years, but like, he taught me how to be a good partner for his mum. It's almost as if he subconsciously taught me how to be a good boyfriend for his mum, and it's kind of sick that transactions happened, and not only that is fucking he's forced me to grow up, like, and there's been heaps of times I've got to be real, you know, where I'm just like, I feel like I can't hack it, but like it's really him that kind of gets me, you know, to this place of like, but fucking try.
Yeah.
You know, when it's like...
Sure.
What's
and
the
I had
point?
to keep reminding
And it's like, nah, fuck
you as well. Like, we're so lucky with Lucas because he is so good.
Oh.
Like, he's like...
Beautiful
everyone's
soul,
like,
he's a good
that's
soul.
you. I'm like, yeah, but I don't even know how I did that. I reckon most of it's because my mum as well, because my mum just knows how to, like, raise kids sort of thing. And I, like... Yeah, I'd broken up with my ex when Lucas was 2 months old, and then did it solo until like that sort of thing. So it was like I was still learning, but I kind of expected, which we shouldn't have expectations, because I expected Jack to be on the same level and just to come up and be able to be a parent straight away, which is now in hindsight being like, okay, you were super fearful of that, and that makes a lot of sense now. At the time, I just didn't get it because I was just like, well, you knew I came with a child. Like, I didn't spring him on you. Like, you knew what you were getting into. But in essence, he didn't actually know what he was getting into because how would he?
How
Like,
would you know if you had
he's never had that
one?
experience before. So
Yo.
I think you're so right in saying, like, what you just said before was beautiful in terms of the whole thing about getting the hard bit done kind of like at the start, so that now we know our fighting style, we know how to communicate. Doesn't always work, like we're gonna end up falling into those same
we've
traps.
gotten way better, right?
We've gotten so much
Like,
better.
at least we know to the point where it's like, just fucking 5-10 minutes, go for a walk, bro. And I'm like, yeah, you're dead right,
Yeah.
bub. You're dead right.
Yeah.
And I can, like, snap out of being an asshole and be like, actually, that you just had my back. You just had our back, actually, by telling me to fuck off and just go for a quick... Well, actually, not fuck off, but let's just go for a walk, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, because I need
Cool
that
off.
sometimes just to fucking cool off, but...
Yeah.
You gotta learn all these things.
Yeah.
Can we just
Yeah.
take a moment to step parenting though?
Oh.
Like, that's flowers, man. Like, I'm a step parent as well.
Yeah.
You know, shout out my Bobby. I love you. Who's 17 years old now. Also came into my life when she was 2.
Right.
You know, so I understand that, but I also understand the mahi that it takes for a step parent, because not only is there responsibility, but that's not like do you know what I mean? Like, respectfully, not in a disrespectful way, but so you're trying to have to navigate through all of these things, and I know it's hard, man. It's one of the most, but also one of the most beautiful things that you can do as a step parent, you know, to be like, you know, sweet, I take that on, let's roll, like, type of thing, and then mahi the way that you do mahi. So it's like, I gotta give daps, man, to that, because it's like such a unique space, and a lot of people, I think it's almost, you know, there's more and more step parents out there, do you know what I mean, and taking it on. So shout out to the step parents as well, but it's not it's not an easy.
Nah.
It's not an easy role to do, especially coming in at such a young age, type of thing, to trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
So
kudos.
And, you know, like, you know, for me, 2 things was, like, one of them was that growing up with step parents, like, at the time I didn't like them at that age. Like, now we're all good. And
No offense, Katie.
No offense, Gav too. But, you know, like, and they were aware of that, and it's quite cool because I've been able to sort of flesh it out with them, because through Luke's, you know, and him sort of peeling back layers of, like, my own personal onion around, like, hey bro, there's shit at the core you got to deal with. It's like he's spent that process of peeling up the onions, right? And so it's gotten to the point where I've had to go to my stepmom and been like, fuck, bro, how did you do it? Like, I know I was a little fuckwit sometimes.
'Cause that's the other
And
thing,
I
right?
purposely made life hard for you.
we think our parents and all these things have got the answers, right? Like, and then you become adults and you're like, yo,
They're winging it too.
talking about all the things we've just unpacked in there. You're like, damn. So I can only imagine what our girls are thinking right now, what Lucas is thinking, do you know, like, oh, my parents have it all. So you put this pressure, which I think, you know, I feel sorry for my dad, because I had, and I think I had every right to, because he's my dad, but I put all this, like, you're the man type of thing, you know, and then when he left, the way that he left and all that kind of stuff was like a pivotal moment for not only me, but almost also my siblings, where we took a massive turn, because we were not only young teenagers, we were young teenagers moving into like adulthood, you know, becoming men, and now mum was bringing us up, and I am super grateful that mum got to raise me and I guess develop this man, because there's so many like soft touches to my
Yeah.
to me as a man because of being raised by a woman.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where I don't have, there's some things that I think, you know, that I don't have because dad wasn't around, but yeah, I'm going off topic here. I don't actually know where I'm going with this, but anyway, I just wanted to say shout out to the stepdads.
Yo.
You know, shout out to step parents, man. It's such
Yeah.
such a unique space, but to step up to the plate and honor that.
Yeah.
And want to be there in the trenches. I think it's such a beautiful thing, because there's probably some whack ones out there, but then there's some like yourself,
Some ones that do a beautiful job.
you know, and honor that and respect that, and really want to make sure that they're upping that space really well, knowing that, you know, that's at the end of the day, it's not my bubble, but I'm gonna love on this bubble as if it was my own and turn up. Do you know what I mean?
Fucking A.
Purely because I love the mum. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and that was kind of
This is a part of who
and
she
I,
is.
and in order to keep her, I need to put effort and time into this, and I don't have it all right now, but I'm going to figure it out, and I'm willing to get in there and figure this out, you know, side by side, because it's a unique stance to take,
Bro,
and
hard.
I think it's a beautiful
Hard.
stance to take for a step parent. Do you know what I mean? So
Sure, bro.
yeah, no,
And it's dope because, like, you know, it's cool because sometimes, I mean, I love having conversations like this because sometimes it gets lonely out in the step parent realm, you know? None of my mates are step parents.
Right, yeah.
I got Marcus,
Yep.
who he's a dad.
Yep.
So I could definitely lean on him, but I know that, you know, even for like my step parents, I can now reflect knowing what it's kind of like, where I'm like, shit, like who the fuck did they have? Like other than a parent, their partner who was the reference, which you don't know that like whole entire like yours love. But yeah, I just want to shine light on like shot for bringing that up, bro, because it's mean like, especially like over New Year's, you know, I found out a few other people that you're friends with at Mangawhai that are also step parents that are now bringing their own pepes into the world. And like even just knowing like, oh, okay, so he's in my boat. Fuck, I didn't even know that. And that almost gives me more comfort with it because it's like, shit, I'm not as alone as sometimes.
This is a
as it
shared
feels,
experience.
You know?
Yeah.
Yo, it's a shared experience. And
because I can't really, because I don't know what it's like to be a step parent either. And then some of the like kind of issues and stuff that come up is just boundaries around like, that's my role to do that, but you can't tell him off. But you know, like trying to figure out what that actually looks like. And my parents are still together, so I've only been raised seeing they're like super in love, you know, like a beautiful marriage sort of thing, and they've always been together.
Luke's dad's parents are also in the same boat.
Yeah, so I've never had any experience with any sort of step parents or anything. So I was kind of going off like, well, first of all, it would be like, yeah, you can't fault my son. He's perfect. Like that sort of like, you know, like things that would annoy Jack. I'm just like, yeah, but he's amazing all the time. So that he's, you know, like getting about it when I have to be a little bit more understanding and be like, okay, I've been around other kids before and they're annoying. You know, like I've found other kids annoying before, so of course he's going to find them annoying. They're not,
but then
you know.
I can also link that because my mum was always fucking so in my ear, which she's actually apologised for as I've gotten older. Like, sorry, son, they actually probably did you they did you a bit of a disservice knowing that you could do no wrong. But you know, my mum was always big in drilling into me, like, and she'd say it in front of other people, like, my son can do no fucking wrong. You know, if he says the wrong thing, he's always right. And like, I've realised kind of what that can bring up in a young man, and I've definitely succumbed to that. I didn't even realise subconsciously I had this belief.
Then I humbled you real quick.
Yeah, yeah, and mum,
You ain't shit.
and we were talking about it, and it was quite cool because I could bring it up to mum, and she's like, actually, I can fucking see that, and she's like, yeah, shit, kind of apologise for that, but it's cool because at the same time I've been able to transfer that information into this relationship and understand, like, yeah, no fucking shit. I'm always going to be, like, I'm never going to be first, and I don't ever want to be fucking first. Like, I'm so, because I remember when my mum used to tell her partners in front of me, like, he always comes first, me, how fucking, I was like, yeah, fucking, and what?
Yeah.
I want Luke's to have that and what to me in that sense, because, like, I never want to ever threaten that like, I'm taking your mum, bro. But because of me being on the receiving end of being a stepchild, I like have this sort of knowing in a way, which is kind of dope, which I've been able to transfer over, and it's almost
been super helpful.
It's been a big thing for me that I've always said it, like, I never ever want to fucking, like overstep my mark as a step parent because I had step parents do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Or
just
even
not,
helpful
it
in
ain't
terms
it.
of reassurance. Like I'll be like, "Oh yes, goodness, Dad's and now we do this." I used to do that.
Like,
I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
okay."
yeah.
I'm not used
I
to
did the same.
because I haven't had before where like
Yeah.
you'd go to your dad's for the weekend or go to like I never had that, so I got really worried. Like it's a hard thing to let like your baby go away sort of thing. But he'd reassure me and be like, "Oh, I used to do that where I'd go like week on week, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, and you're okay now."
Yeah, somewhat.
He's like, "No."
I just wanted to highlight though, you said before about how you would never want to to say to Lucas or that, you're first or he first or whatever. To me, that I felt like that tells us how comfortable you are in your skin and in your
He's not trying
relationship.
to compete with
There is no competing,
Yeah.
and that's such a beautiful thing to highlight.
Yeah.
And
that's so true.
kudos to you in the way that you are obviously managing and in the relationship with both
Yeah.
Morgan and her son.
Yeah,
Yo,
totally.
kia ora.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I appreciate it, eh?
Yeah.
Now, I just need to pause for a second. That's not moving. Does that mean it's not recording?
No, we're good. It's
Oh,
fine.
thank goodness.
But
I looked over and I was like, I don't think any of this is being recorded.
we got 10 minutes left on the recording,
Okay.
so I think I'm gonna pivot. Edit
Any
this
more?
bit out.
Yep.
Last
I'm gonna
questions?
pivot to the closing segment,
Yep. Cool.
kind of it.
Beautiful.
But I think I'm keen to get some of these questions.
Yeah.
There's a few more questions on here. We've covered a few of them.
Yeah.
But there's a few in there, like the Brother Johnny, the chef one, where I'm keen to cover that.
And Rory?
A short answer.
Yeah, and that one for show. But yeah, and then we'll
I'll
start
try and
kind
short
of
answer.
planning the little...
You might have to put that on the load up again, bro. We go again, cuz. Yeah. Morgs told you I can talk, alright?
Right, we need to do that. We're good. I got
You know?
caffeine going right
Yeah, hey, let's go. Shit, I might
on.
start vaping tonight, you know? Shit. Might be the night anyway. Let's go.
No, I mean,
But just so you know, we're not pushed for time, so like you just
Alright,
we,
cool.
we just do what you need to do.
yeah,
Let
I'm
him ask the
happy.
question.
Sorry,
I'm
yeah,
happy.
sorry, 10
I'm
minutes.
pressed for time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I mean, so I was kind of keen to, before we finish the whole podcast together, get a few of these questions out that a few of the homies had asked.
Can I ask this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Rory. Shout out, Rory.
Hey,
Raw dog.
what up?
Man. He asked... Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. This is at Tony. He's even added Tony to this.
I didn't think I was going to get any questions.
Yeah, this is specific to you.
Shout out Raw Dog. Can I call him? I don't get
Oh, he
sweet.
gets called Raw
Imagine.
Dog. That's
yeah.
amazing
Cool.
that you do
Well, I
that.
heard Jack say it, so I was like, maybe I can, but you don't.
Yeah.
Have. Anyway, apologies if I have no consent. there.
Rory.
Anyway, sorry, question. Yeah.
Was there a specific moment that made you want to get into youth work? So you're obviously in youth work now. You study social work. Where did that even come from?
Oh yeah, so no specific moment. It's just growing up with a mum so I spent a bit of time in the women's refuge, and then mum became a social worker or became a support worker, and then eventually got her social work degree, which is something that I'm doing at the moment. So it was more inspiration from her, wanting to help people. I knew not really old people or adults. It was more our young people, o taiohi or rangatahi. That was more, I think, because that was more age appropriate at the time. And then started doing it again once I had broken up in this relationship. That was one of the cool things that picked up. I got an opportunity to facilitate a group with the Auckland City Council, and ran that on my own, just real no clue on what to do other than just write music. So that was all the kaupapa of it, which was my first like taste of youth work, so to speak. But always because of mum, we've always had people either helping us or helping people into the community. So there's always been an inspiration or a passion or a love for working with people. It wasn't until that moment we're working with young people and having that opportunity where I knew it was like, yo, this is I don't know, this gets me going type of thing. Do you know what I mean? This is mean type of thing. And I could use music as the vehicle, which was also cool because without it, I wasn't, I don't know if I would have been able to do what I was able to do with no clue on what youth development looked like, just wanting to run a music group. And that was out in Pamua, and we did this cool night with our young people where they put together this performance night, and they came, and it was lots of young talent, and it was such a cool moment for me, which I'll never forget. But that was my start of youth work, and yeah, so no real like, oh, I want to be a youth worker. It just organically happened. But I always knew I was going to help people, because that's kind of, watching my mum do that, or watch the people that helped us when we needed them the most, and the effect that you can have was important. And I just found myself in that space and continued to move in that space, and been in that space for a long time now, where I get the privilege to team lead, which is really cool, because in that space, I don't necessarily work on the front line with young people anymore, but I get to work with the new up and coming leaders like yourself, Mooks, but then also new youth workers, and get to be part of that development and help Afi those new young professionals and practitioners, and Afi be part of that journey and mold and help create awesome youth development workers, which is so much needed. And so that's kind of where I sit right now. But that was a long answer. Sorry, Bulldog. I hope that was helpful. If not,
that was
on.
But yeah,
because that's the thing. You're not only out there working in the community, but the way that you work with your team. And I know we don't have enough time, and I could go on for hours and hours about the support that you give to our team and the respect. Like, Jack's probably sick of listening about you, because I'll come home and just be like, he's so cool. Like, oh, sorry, did you time me out?
I don't mind.
I just think you're such a good leader. You're such a natural, but you genuinely care. Like, the passion and the... I don't know what it is about you, and everyone feels it. Like, everyone speaks so highly of you, which shows that it's not just one person seeing this, like, you're so highly spoken about, probably the most highly spoken about person I know, where nobody says a bad word about you. And that's, again, just testament to the passion that you have, not only for the mahi that we do, but for the well-being of team as well, which I think is like a really, really hard balance to do. But obviously with the support of me, it's a lot easier. But you know what I mean? Like, the support of the people around you on the same sort of kaupapa as you just make this beautiful, beautiful team lead who cares so much about rangatahi, but also cares so much about the people that are supporting them as well. So
thanks, Mooks.
No worries.
It hasn't always been this way, do you know what I mean? So throughout the waves and all that kind of stuff, and we talked about, being in that space of lost, confused, hurt, and all that. So, and there's those moments of like, well, what do you want to be? How do you want to be spoken about? What does your mahi look like? What is your contribution to society? All of those questions, I think I still kind of hold in the back of my, so when things get a bit flaky or whatever, it's like you come back to those moments, because I never want to be that person again. That was never me, but that was just the person that I had been, type of thing, so I'd never want to go back to that. But that's a good reminder of what could look like if you don't look after yourself, if you don't honour everything that you've been taught, and the people that have come before you, and all that kind of, and the people that you're with at the moment. So just on the back of that kōrero, I'm in the same, when I come home, I'm praising, I'm like, Morgs, she's gangster. Even when we were coming here, please don't, because then I'll cry too. But you're just as strong as your people beside you. Do you know what I mean? And it's testament to not only you, but you look at our team, and like there's so many strong people on us that we can just be able to ride this wave and get the mahi done. And we are all passionate about our young people, which is the common link. So the mahi in itself is almost like, no matter how hard it is, we're going to turn up and we're going to ride that wave. And I think there's a trust within our team, where we just know, like, cool, this is a massive wave, but we're going to ride it. All right, cool, got you, sweet, let's go, let's do it, boom. And then we just move like that. So it's like, it's just awesome to have that kōrero that you've just said, but none of it really happens without, a strong, person beside you, but then also people that keep the fires burning at home. Do you know what I mean? Which is awesome, 1000%. Because I can't really do the things that I do really well in work without knowing that I've got someone at home looking after my babies, that there's kai being cooked, they've been fed, all these things. That, because if I am to dip, I'm in two different mindsets, and I can't really give it the hundy, so I can only do that because you know, the people that
all about
represent me to
team.
make it. And 100%, man. Then that's what it comes down to, is your support crew and your people, not only in mahi, not in uni, but at home as well. You just need to make sure that those things are all. But I think if you got to look after home, man, like most importantly, look after that shit first, and then everything will be okay. So don't be in a rush to go and do something at mahi. Like, make sure that stuff is cool.
Totally.
You know, because that's your.
So you can show up.
Hard out and be confident about it and not have things lingering in it. But I can only speak for myself anyway. That's how we seem to be. That's how I can function. The way that I do in that, because you see how I throw everything at it. You know, I want the best not only for our young people but for our team and for the organisation. So that it's just like, in order to do that, it's really important that things at home are on as much as possible.
That's why you got the Values Award. There you go.
Yeah.
He's too humble, but like, that was, everyone was cheering for you then. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I got a question for both of you. This is from my mate Johnny. Tips for anyone in any form of creative industry. So to give context, my bro who asked the question is a chef, and you know, I know a bit of his plan on what he's wanting for his future, but it kind of complements a few different industries quite nicely, I think, with it just covering creative. So what are your sort of top tips, would you say?
I feel like the first thing that comes to mind for me, regardless of what creative industry you're in, is just refine, and make mistakes.
Right.
Do that. That's a great way to learn, because if you deep dive in, you make a mistake, you have a physical response to what happens, a feeling, you know, then you can go, cool, I'll learn from that. Refine.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I would say.
What's Shonna's question? There's the answers. I'm just like, damn.
Tips for...
She's nailing them.
Yeah, I don't want to... It's not a competition or anything, but I don't want to see the comment section and be like, bro, Tony's trash. He needs to read more books. Stink vocab. Morgs, are you sure he's a good leader? Because he got stink answers. No,
the bro asked, tips for anyone in any form of creative industry.
Ooh, I think it also comes back down to being authentic. So just making sure that you're, one, happy being in that space, and I think everything will just flow, type of thing, you know, and never doubting the hard times. Just continue to turning up for your mahi, and just grind, you know. Well, probably, and have fun. The moment that you lose that, you kind of
so true.
You know, because my whole kōrero has been like, the moment because I love the performing side of things, of the music, so I love getting up on stage, and I think that's also down to my nana. I got that from her. Like, you'll see her at parties, parties, birthdays or something, and she's always turning up. You know, shout out Nana Homo. And she's like, I always like, because I just love just leaving everything out on the stage, and I think that's where my joy where Has might be potentially looking in the studio with the creating, and Lucky might be actually doing the recording and part of things, but mine is being on stage. So we've done all the creation and being and sharing it, and being able to feed off people but giving them the energy. Like, that's another thing, is like buzzing out at people, being like or like, yo, Tony Teez, oh, hey, Team Dynamite, like, that still trips me out today. Do you know what I mean? There's like, I don't know why, but I'm just like, let's get
that feeling would be something else,
you know. And it's cool, but you're like, so it's it's pretty cool. But man, just, I think if you are really about it and you really love it, just stick to it even through those hard times, and lean on your people. Because they will be the ones that will be able to critique you or pick you up and dap you up and be like, I hear you, but you're actually on, type of thing. And just kind of keep refining and, you know, trialing and errors and all that kind of stuff, where I'm not necessarily in that creative space anymore like that. But I try and find other outlets to get my creative side off. And that might be just purely by what I wear to mahi type of thing, or just trying to stay with the music, or just feeding off. Like, a lot of my inspiration at the moment is watching all these artists come up nowadays. You know, I spoke about Judge Napi and the From Outsiders and Spewer and all of them, Diggy, like all of these people watching. You know, like, it's like, this is so cool. real soft spot for D because he's Niue and he's gang, and that's how it is. So it's always cool to see fellow Niueans do their thing. But just the level of music that's coming out these days is just amazing, and I'm just so proud of Aotearoa. I think we punch quite high or above for such a small country.
Yeah,
do you know? And we make some really great artists, well, sports people. Like we do quite really well for a little country. But I don't actually know if that answered Johnny's question. If not, bro, click on the link over here, bro. Yeah, jump in the DMs, cuz
just a lot easier.
Pull up, cuz I'll answer the question for you properly. But yeah.
Well, that's all the questions, I think.
Oh, one more.
Where?
One more.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to ask this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you manage your work/life balance as creatives? As community work, like you've sort of answered this already in terms of being able to balance out. I mean, having your different roles, with Tony at Mahi and stuff, and then how do you balance out and our job's really stressful and stuff. How does he balance out one so he doesn't offload onto you too much? So you can keep the kind of peace but support each other along the way.
I feel as though we are both our strongest when we start with our body, with our tinana. When we're both working out, meditating, me running, or doing some sort of physical activity. I feel like the rest kind of works itself
totally
out.
Agree.
We have more energy. We eat better. Our heads are clearer. What do you reckon?
It's quite, because that's exactly what's going on at the moment. It's like waves of which is kind of I think I've been talking about it in our mahi. It was about like the true intention of self-care. Like for a lot of the time it was like just trying to stop and be like get some of that recovery when that's not actually feeding the soul. Do you know what I mean? It's like getting into nature, being in the water. Like I knew those things were those are the things that get me going. But I was like just so caught up in life that I thought just resting wasn't till I jumped on the table and got that massage where I was quickly reminded you need to be in nature. And I know these things, and these are the things I was doing. But when life gets caught up, it's just easy to forget about what those things are. And so it's just looking, I think looking after yourself and genuinely looking after yourself, not doing like the tick box type of things or it's like
it's the consistency. I remember Tony read this book called Atomic Habits, and he kind of passed he passed that knowledge on to me, some of it, and it's even if it's 15 minutes something in the morning, you're showing up. You're doing it, keeping that consistency up. And I feel like for us, I know that works because we're functioning at our highest, best level when we are doing all of that.
It's a good book. You should, if no one's, if you're out there, pick it up. It teaches you quite a lot of things. I haven't got to the end of it, but that's the journey of reading. You just kind of just go through it and take on what you need. But another cool tip was like putting things front so you can actually see them. So what we did with our gym gear that we have at home is we leave it purposely. And
that's why I had the treadmill in the lounge.
Right. Well, there you go. Do you know? And all that kind of stuff is like, so So the book that I would like the book is there on the bench. Like, and I had to tell Babe, can you stop putting it away? I need it there. So
she's like, well, you're not reading it.
Exactly. But I'm like, but if it's there, I know. So when I'm scrolling, I can look at it and be like, I should do it. Nah, but I think it's just those things and then continuing. But it's hard, and we're all living busy lives. So it's also being like gentle. And just know that you want to be consistent and you have every intention. So it's just turn up and do that how you can.
Find out what works for you as well. Because I could I'm not a runner, but I could see running's really good self care. I could get into that, but it wouldn't fill that cup because that's not what my body's needing. I need to be in the gym to be able to feel that same sense of Like, and first thing in the morning as well.
Accomplishment. Yeah.
Jack's the same with breathwork. Like, that's
Yeah.
how we start our mornings.
Yeah.
And we can tell a difference when we don't start our mornings
Oh.
like that.
Yeah.
And I've been talking about it at work. Like, we've had such hard days. It's like, I'm so glad I did some movement this morning, because if I didn't, I feel like they're like a force field, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It just helps those harder days. You just be like, ping, ping,
100%.
ping, 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 you know? And because the other thing is, like, we got to go home to our people,
Yeah.
do you know? And it's like being mindful that don't just throw it all there and leave it there. It's like you got to
Yeah.
save some for when you go home. And that's
Yeah.
the things that help is by doing something that fills your tank.
Like work doesn't stop at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like even our study day
Yeah.
normally
true.
starts at 8
Yep.
p.m.
Damn.
When our kids are in bed, when they're fed,
Yeah.
we've had a shower, we both sit down at our table
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we tippy-typy until
It's
we
long.
have nothing left.
Yeah.
And then we go, right, love you, no, bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
which is hard too, you know.
Yeah.
That sometimes there's nothing in it. Well, for me, there's nothing in the tank, so I'm
Yeah.
done. So they're as they all open with the intentions to do something, and just be
Yeah.
like, or get caught up in mahi and
Yeah.
do mahi stuff, and it's like,
And then the day definitely doesn't finish at 5.
do you know?
Yeah.
And I'm here telling Morgs, you know, just we can only do what we can do in the 8 hours,
Yeah, then I'm
Morgs.
like, well, then go home. Put your phone down and go home.
But yeah,
Keeping each other accountable, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, that's really
Massive.
important, especially in leadership. That's what I've welcome to leadership. That's what I've noticed is making sure checking in, which you're awesome at in terms of reminding everyone about self-care constantly. Just like make sure you're self-caring, because we can tell you're not self-caring. We need to be doing it as a collective to show up for our young people.
I think some people use, well, I did. I use self-care as a write-off, just chill. But self-care is not just chilling.
well, that's where I
Yeah.
got
Like you're
to.
alluding to,
You
yeah.
know,
TikTok
yeah,
self-care.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TikTok,
Because
yeah.
it's probably a form of,
Yeah.
but when if you're doing that consistently and it's not actually filling the way
Yeah, it's not changing anything.
is it
The
self-care?
delusion of self-care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
right.
whatever the
Are
opposite
you?
of self-care
Yeah, it
is.
was like
Do you know what I
self-care
mean?
day. It was like
yeah,
chill with the boys.
yeah, hard out,
Like,
yeah.
hard out. It's
Well,
like
arguably that's pretty good self-care. But
Hard.
hard. You know, we just don't necessarily use it for what it actually is. And
Yeah.
that's one thing last year, 2023 taught me the importance of fucking
Yeah.
like, when you feel when your soul's asking you to go for a swim in the ocean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
go.
go do
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
hard out,
Go swim in the ocean.
Follow
you know
that.
what I mean?
100%.
hard out.
But
Oh my
hey,
gosh, I don't want this to end,
I don't-
but I know
fuck.
it has to.
I know.
Is there anything that we missed out that you guys wanted to talk about? I mean, you're more than welcome to come back on again if you wanted to. But is there anything that we missed or anything? You said you've got an upcoming show. Do you want to tell us a little
Like
bit
the
about
show?
that? Yeah,
Yes,
it's like the show. Why
please.
not?
Go.
I have a show coming up March the 17th,
Cool.
WOMAD.
Yes.
And I'm fizzing to play at WOMAD because it's like the one festival where I've always just wanted to be asked.
Just like Christmas. And
Yeah, just like Christmas, babe, just like Christmas in the park, 100%. And plus, it's based in Taranaki.
yeah.
And so I get to
Told
go
her.
home and perform there and be in that space. And
Told
I'm
her.
psyched. So yeah, looking
So exciting.
Damn.
When we watched
Reminded
you
me of
in Whānau, was that last year? Whānau, was that?
Oh yeah, that was last year. Yep.
We
Yes.
watched you.
Oh yeah,
LAB.
Yeah. Incredible.
That was dope.
Yeah,
That was
first time I
dope.
saw you was at Good to Great when you performed, and then when I saw you recently, I was like, oh, you're just so cool. So I'm so excited for you. Good luck for WOMAD.
Thank you,
That's
baby.
Very cool place to play. The vibes are going to be on. Tony, anything happening in your life? Anything coming up?
That's you already know.
I'm gonna need tracks too.
Yeah.
Tracks.
Sweet.
Nah, man, I just Dallas and Tui on my tracks.
Spinning them all day.
Yeah, they're all in day. But I just, we wanted to really come in here and afi the mahi that you're doing. We know, this is, well, as far as I know, it's come from COVID, and you just wanted to try something, and you've stuck to it.
Yeah.
And what we're really passionate about is helping the next wave of creatives and all that kind of stuff, and afi that. And that's, I hope we've done that. But we really appreciate having us on here, but also wanting to talk to us about these things.
Yeah.
And to anyone listening, if we sound like we've got it all together, we don't. It's hard mahi. So just stick to it and lean on your people, and holler at Morgs and Jack if you need any support. Because I'm busy, man.
Just ask Morgs if you need anything. I'm like, oh, okay.
Exactly.
But no, thank you. Thank you for bringing our kōrero to the forefront and for having us in your space.
Oh, anytime. Honestly, you guys are both welcome back anytime. You've been awesome. This has been just, I don't know why, we're all so nervous. It went perfectly fine and everyone's happy. And I think there's a lot from this podcast that people really benefit from, which is our main kaupapa. Like, that's what we want to do. is just, even if people take one thing out of this, or someone's going through something or can resonate in any sort of way, that's all we kind of ask for.
So be kind in the comments, eh? We're just human beings.
Hey,
Our two followers are always kind of the
Yeah, cool.
Otherwise
So,
we just delete it.
cool, yeah.
Never happened.
Do that.
But yeah, thank you so much. Did you want to say anything before
yeah,
we...
no, I just massive mihi to both of you. It's just been awesome to have you on, and you know, we want to. Even though you guys are experienced folk within the game, you know, we want to also offer you fellas and be able to, you know, even though our platform's only quite small, just to still be able to use it for something that could, you know, bring light to you fellas too. So we just want to send a massive mihi to you, and it's been cool, you know, especially being our first guests.
Hey.
You know, in like well over a year.
Yeah.
So the bar's been set quite high for anyone that's coming up next day, is what I'm hearing now.
But it's just been really cool, and it's been amazing for us because, you know, like Morgan was saying, we were nervous as, but I couldn't have thought of two better people to come on first, really.
100%.
It's been amazing, and I'm sure that there are a lot of golden nuggets that people are going to take out of tonight's corridor, and I just can't wait to share it, eh? I honestly can't wait.
Yeah.
And I reckon like one day down the line we should get a little part 2 going.
Yeah.
Maybe
I feel
after
like
the
there's
wedding.
just so much
Yeah.
Maybe at the wedding. Yeah. Thinking we're invited.
Yeah, well.
Still waiting for
Hey,
that
go plant that seed.
Whakoi lahi. Appreciate you,
Yeah,
man.
mate. So, for anyone that's listening, where can they find you? Where can they, if they want to listen to your music, if they want to see where you're at, what's happening, where do they go? What do they do?
We're both on Spotify, so you can find Tony at Team Dynamite. You can find myself, Bailey Wiley. We both are on Instagram.
Yes.
At Bailey Wiley, at Tony Teez.
Cold.
And we're not on TikTok because we're too old. No, just kidding.
Never too old.
Yeah, I am. Nah, jokes.
I don't know how to use it.
Constantly scrolling.
Is that still
It's gonna be laughing at
It's like 4 years ago.
Still keeping the no strong. Oh, well, thank you so much once again.
Hard up.
And thank you to people, if you're still listening and watching to this, and thank you.
Yeah, you're on. If you've made it this far, straight
We
up.
appreciate this. Probably little Jack's mates.
Yeah, to the boys, let's
Nah,
go.
but for real, it's
SBF
just,
all
yeah.
day. What?
It's been an honour. It's just, yeah. Very, very happy.
Tūturu whakamoa kia teina. Huie, taiki e.
Good fun. Have a good one.